Welcome to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I am your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-hosts, Jen Isgro, Tom Kokoza, and very special guest co-host, Brendan Johnston. How are you all doing today? Free for all?
Nobody will talk.
Sorry, I was distracted by the chat.
I'm doing well, Joe, and I thank you everybody for rescheduling our normal Friday recording to Saturday. I had my brother's 50th surprise costume birthday party yesterday.
It's a lot there.
We had to dress up as things he liked. A lot of beer related or beer adjacent costumes, a lot of Oktoberfestian things.
Ooh.
But I dressed up as Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation, emptying the chemical toilet. Someone was Jon Snow, which I thought was very nice. And then two different people dressed up as the superhero Black Canary. One of which was my brother's son and his friends. A couple of them were there. Their guidance counselor from their high school. Black Canary wears a leather like one-piece bathing suit top and fishnets, and they were quite taken aback. It was great.
It was a female guidance counselor?
Yes, it was a female guidance counselor.
Okay.
Okay, so all right, two things. The way you started telling that story made it sound like your nephew and his friends and their guidance counselor were all dressed up like
yes, that's what I thought. I was going to say, wasn't your nephew Jon Snow?
It was Jon Snow.
So that was confusing in and of itself.
I was totally lost. Totally lost on that one.
Second thing.
You want to try it again?
Yeah, I guess you missed the Oxford comma in my sentence. My nephew and his friends.
No, I was only kidding.
Over. Yeah.
I was only kidding about that. Go ahead, Brendan. What was number two? You want to hear number two?
Second thing. This is like the 30th time I've been on this show, and something just happened that has never happened in previous occasions. I briefly forgot that there was an audience. And we were doing this to be broadcast, and I just thought we were talking, and you started to describe to me what Black Canary's costume looks like, and I felt for the first time in as long as I can remember, and for one of only a very few times in our entire friendship, genuine anger with you. How dare you?
Well,
tell me what Black Canary looks like.
Brendan, Jen and I don't know what Black Canary looks like, so he's probably
did not matter. You guys
We just figured we would wander away and join another conversation.
Yeah,
if we could, we would have, Brendan. We would have.
Oh my gosh.
We've legitimately what the fuck? Who do you think you're talking to?
Brendan, she's blonde. I don't know if you knew that.
Anyway, we've got an interesting, wonderful episode to talk about the road to the spear. I want to remind everybody that the first part of this episode will be spoiler-free. No book spoilers will be discussed, and then once Brendan leaves, then we'll go to spoiler mode. So before I'll talk about this actually on the spoiler part. So Jen, you want to bring us in with a recap?
I do. Episode 304, The Road to the Spear, was written by Rafe Lee Judkins and directed by Thomas Napper. We open on Rand and Lan's sword training. During a break, Rand tells Lan about the flame in the void, a trick his father taught him to clear his mind. Rand admits he doesn't know much about his father's life before he was born, but he was comfortable with him in the Two Rivers and felt like he belonged. He doesn't know if he will ever have that feeling here with the Aiel. As they start sparring again, we see Moiraine is watching them. In a tent that night, Egwene and Moiraine sit with Wise Ones Bear and Melaine. The Wise Ones did not know Egwene was coming, but there was an even chance that Rand would, and if he hadn't, he and the Aiel both would have died. Also, if Moiraine and Lan did not both come, Moiraine would have died, and also, if Moiraine doesn't go to Ruidian, but Hagrid style, Melaine should not have said that. Rand and Lan return from sparring, and Avienda is pissed that both of them have been using swords so close to Ruidian. Lan finds her slightly hilarious, and the whoops from the surrounding Aiel confirm that it is time to dance. Sword and spear clash for a bit, and everyone is entertained until Fun Sponges Bear and Melaine come out and rebuke Avienda for having run over the dragon wall when she had been called to be a wise one herself. Oh, dip. Avienda has to give up her spears and Cadensor and take a trip into Ruidian. Bear gets it. She was once a maiden too, but it doesn't stop her from snapping Avienda's spears over her knee. Avienda wipes her tears and runs off toward Ruidian. Moiraine approaches Rand and asks if he is truly planning on going into Ruidian tomorrow. She wants Rand to confide in her, says she has only ever tried to help him, but he still doesn't trust that she's not going to use him or try to stop him. Rand and a small crew head for Ruidian the next morning. Roark tells him that he can only discuss the trial with others who have been through it, and there are very few who make it out alive. He shows Rand the dragon tattoo on his forearm that proves he survived the trial, and the Kara Karn will be marked on both arms. The group reaches the city, with the tops of buildings peeking up through a strange fog. However, after only a moment, the whoops of the Shido clan begin, and the Aiel veil themselves. However, there is peace in Ruidian and on the slopes of Chayandire, and so the clans meet. Savannah, the wife of the now-deceased Shido clan chief, has married her stepson, Ew, and Muradin is currently in Ruidian. His brother, Couladin, is waiting to go in should he fail, but you have to ask the wise ones, Couladin. Rude! Rand suddenly asks to go to Ruidian, and the wise ones answer yes. Bear says Rand's father was Aiel and is about to tell him about his mother, but Couladin is still yelling and tries to attack Rand, but Bear channels and knocks him down. Mid-recap vote, who's more annoying, Galad or Couladin?
The way you're saying Couladin is the most annoying part.
It's hurting me so much, but I'm really trying
Listen,
hard.
Bear, she just might be her accent, all right? It's
All right,
Couladin.
Couladin.
I'm so mad about Couladin.
Let's finish the
Let's
recap.
keep going.
Egwene and Lan are sent away, but Moiraine asks to go to Ruidian too, and the wise ones answer yes. Moiraine will have to step through one of 3 rings, and she will see 1,000,000 of her potential futures. Rand will walk through the glass columns and step backwards in time, seeing his past through the eyes of his ancestors. They leave their weapons along a wall of spears that previous Aiel have left behind, and they head toward the city. Title card now? Okay, sure. In the streets, Moiraine thinks she could see threads of the One Power in the fog. They come upon a huge 3,000-year-old tree called Avienda. Moiraine tells Rand that the Aiel gave a sapling of this tree to Cairhien years ago, but when her uncle Laemon became king, he cut it down and used it to build his throne. This absolute slap in the face was the cause of the entire Aiel War, which ended when the Aiel found and killed Laemon on the slopes of Dragonmount. Rand would never have been born on Dragonmount had Laemon not cut down the tree. He walks toward the hundreds of glowing glass columns. Ahead of him, Rand sees Muradin, but the man says nothing and doesn't move. As Rand steps through, he is suddenly pushed against by what seems like a strong wind. Each step is a struggle. He places his hands to the ground, and he is his father, Janduin, an Aiel fighting on the slopes of Dragonmount. The Aiel find Tigraine lying dead, covered in blood. Janduin sobs and tells her he found Laemon and killed him. The baby, Rand, is gone. Janduin screams in grief. Rand is screaming in the columns. His hands are covered in his mother's blood. Another step. He is another Aiel, Mandine, overlooking the city of Ruidian with his wife and watching the fog cover it. Mandine's wife says Latra Sedai has called them, and they must agree to what she asks. She has seen it in a dream. Mandine leaves his spear, the first spear outside Ruidian, and enters. Latra, an elderly woman, removes a white orb from the trunk of Avienda and tells a group of male Aiel that they must know their past to lead as chiefs and wise ones, and must know why they do not use swords. She tells them the prophecy of the Kara Karn, and with the orb, channels to create the glass columns. Mandine volunteers to go through first. Rand takes another step and crunches on the bones of a potential Aiel chief who only made it this far. Muradin is still not moving. Another step. He is Lewin, a happy young boy with 2 friends who would be Rand, Mat, and Perrin as Tinkers, or what we know as Tinkers, but they're calling themselves Aiel. The The boys look upon a young Avendasora in a wagon with the white orb tucked in its branches until Lewin's grandfather, Adon, chases them out. Outside, Lewin's mom says his sister and Aiel Mat's sister have been taken by bandits. The boys want to get them back, but Adon says no way, no violence. Lewin and his friends decide to secretly track the bandits by night. During the scuffle, in which the boys wear dust veils over their faces, Lewin accidentally kills one of the bandits with a spear, which, by the way, is not just a weapon like a sword is. And Aiel Perrin is stabbed to death. When the kids return to their wagons, the sisters completely throw them under the bus, and Lewin's family disowns him. Lewin and Aiel Mat are no longer considered Aiel. They are now oathbreakers, but they decide to stay around the wagons and protect those who won't fight, all while hiding their faces under veils. Rand reaches Moiraine, who is now screaming and clawing his own eyes out. Back near Avendasora, Moiraine channels into the tree and finds the white orb still inside, which she pockets immediately because finders keepers. She finally finds the 3 rings, inside one of which Avienda is hanging upside down and spinning slowly, screaming. Moiraine steps to her ring and is immediately suspended the same way. She sees scenes from her future as we spin around them. She is in what looks like the love nest she shared with Swan and smiles as a figure she calls Love enters. She is the Amerlin in the hall of the tower to Egwene's keeper, and Rand in his red coat kneels before her screaming as she slices his throat. In a field, she releases Lan from their bond. In the streets of Tarvalon, she bonds Rand. In the tower, she puts out a fire that is burning Lan to death and protects him from who I think is Lanfear. In the waist, dressed as Amerlin, she cradles a dying Rand, a bloody sword lying next to him, and screams in agony. In the waist, she channels and kills red-coated Lan, as Lan stands by wielding a bloody sword. In the 2 rivers, she swears herself to Rand as the Dragon Reborn, as townspeople look on. Back in the columns, Moiraine is bleeding out through his eye sockets, so Rand continues past him. Another step, he is Jonai, a middle-aged Aiel as Tinker, who is surveying the damage after an attack on their wagons. He finds his grandson, Adon, but the boy's parents have been killed. A woman tells Jonai that a group of them are going to stay and find a place to settle, now that all the men who can channel have been killed. She tries to get Adon to come with them, but he will not break his oaths. Jonai and Adon stay and bury his parents. Jonai says his daughter dreamed of a city for the Aiel to be safe, across the spine of the world. He shows Adon the young Avendasora and tells him they must always protect it. Another step, he is Roderick, and he's in the Age of Legends, but it's not looking too legendary. He approaches Latra Sedai, who is still young-looking, and tells her in the Old Tongue that there are 10,000 wagons ready to depart, each with a cutting of a chora tree. Latra gives him the white orb against the protestations of another Aes Sedai. Latra is afraid of a dark female channeler getting her hands on it, since this orb is the Sakarnan, the strongest Sa'angreal in the world. Roderick swears that they will protect it until they find safety, and the Aiel will keep the way of the leaf always. The wagons, made of metal but pulled by horses, all depart. Rand screams as he pushes forward. He's crawling now, but rises back to his feet as Moiraine collapses. Another step, he is Charn, an Aiel servant overlooking a field of farmers harvesting and singing. Overlooking them from a floating orb in the sky, like you do. Lanfear approaches, but not Lanfear yet, Moiraine Sedai, who tells him after tomorrow the world will change, since she has discovered a thin place in the pattern through which another power exists, the true power that anyone will be able to use. Charn says there's something that feels good about doing things with your hands and not the power. Moiraine tells him to go be with the people he loves, which is the most important thing. What a sweet, sweet lady. As Charn sings with his Aiel family in the fields, the floating orb explodes and falls to the ground, and a dark presence seems to break through a literal hole in the sky. Feels like the world did change, Moiraine. Nice job. Rand quickly flashes back forward through his ancestors' lives and collapses. He has made it through the trial and survived, and on his forearms, 2 golden dragon tattoos appear. He eventually rises and finds Avienda lying by the tree. She sees his tattoos, and a wave of emotions crosses her face as she tries to grapple with what she has been through. She heads back to the tents, but Rand says he won't leave without Moiraine. Speaking of, she is still spinning and screaming. In the waves, she's dressed in rags as Lanfear, Moghedien, and our main boys and girls as their goth evil twins approach her menacingly. Then Lanfear slices her throat. In a Kyrian Inn, she's doing it with Rand. In a Kyrian Inn, she's starting to do it with Lanfear, then Lanfear chokes her. In the hall of the tower, Rand and Lanfear surround her, then Lanfear stabs her. Let me know if you're sensing a pattern. On the streets of Tarvalon, Lanfear cuts Moraine's throat. In the waste, Lanfear cuts Moraine's throat. Again, Lanfear and blood and Moiraine dead over and over. Lan and Egwene are waiting by night for them at the Aiel tents. Rand and Moiraine have been gone 7 days, 2 more days than Avienda. But now the dawn is breaking, and he who comes with it is heading out of Ruidian, cradling Moiraine in his arms. She is mentally and emotionally exhausted. Lan takes her into his arms, and Egwene embraces Rand. No one says a word. The end.
Oh, I missed that. Can you do it again?
Yeah. Whew.
Was that the biggest recap you wrote?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think so.
I wasn't. Yeah, I just wanted to. I don't know.
What did
Honestly, it didn't feel that long.
I feel like the first one was longer.
It was about 11 minutes.
Pretty good.
Was it 11? I tried to keep it.
I
How
think
could it be 11?
Yeah,
we stopped in the middle.
I timed it. Yes, we stopped to talk
we
about.
paused.
We talked for about 30
Kuladin.
seconds. No, I counted
Stopped
that.
for Kuladin.
I counted.
All right,
I took
whatever.
that 30 seconds out. I counted
Okay,
it.
well now it's taking 15 minutes. We're still talking about it.
I just want to.
Sorry, it was good. Don't take any kind of
No, it was
discussion
good.
at a time to mean otherwise.
There was a lot. There was a lot going on in
There's
this
a lot.
episode.
I want to touch on everything.
There was a lot of different things happening. So, not a lot of quiet staring or anything like that. So we have a long cold open, which, I mean,
Not a cold open.
it's not really a cold open. It's
No,
just,
it doesn't count.
yeah, I put it as a cold open, but it's not really a cold open. It's just part of the episode.
Yeah, one notable thing I would say about the title card.
Oh, I didn't
Is
get to
that
that
it-
yet.
Yeah, well,
What?
whatever.
It was
The
different.
title card was shorter.
It was in
than
reverse.
normal, and it was reversed.
I didn't
Yeah,
look at it.
Steinman on our Discord pointed that out
Interesting.
the other day.
The music was in reverse too.
Yes,
and the image. I mean,
Yes.
the image just it's spinning.
Yeah,
Let's put it
yeah,
the way.
yeah.
Spinning the other way, yeah.
To go forward, you must go back.
Okay.
yeah. Good catch on that one.
Interesting.
I did not notice that. Maybe because I looked away or something like that, or I just didn't notice because I don't pay attention to that. So, cool how they did that. Though the music, I think, was probably the biggest giveaway because it did sound weird. For sure. So I'll call a shout out. This isn't a spoiler, but the Flame in the Void, right? We
Yeah.
got it finally. This is something, Brendan, that's like established in the beginning of the very first book. Rand's talking with Lan about, he imagines the flame and all of that. That's from the books, but it's like something that, like I said, it's from the very beginning of the books. So it was kind of cool that they threw that in there. I like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a scene in episode 7 of season 1 where you see Rand do that, but it's not verbally addressed, and it's like when he's firing arrows, like before he leaves, you can see him literally like trying, like
Composing
doing
himself.
it, yeah, and then he starts like bullseyeing the arrows.
Oh, see, that's interesting because I remember that bit, and I thought that was just him like activating his dragon powers, not
He's
meditating or whatever.
I think he's activating his how do I best kill powers, I guess.
Right. Okay.
Probably.
I'm liking this new Rand-Lan relationship. It's changed over time, right? In the first season, you could tell they don't like each other very much, and they've kind of learned to become friends.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I think it is nice. And you can see Rand's definitely getting better, although he's not yet good, I would say, at the sword, but he's definitely getting better.
Yeah, making progress there. Just keep at it, Rand. Keep at it. Practice every day. I love this line that Egwene and Moiraine says it, right? Egwene comes over and talks about like there's a saying in the Two Rivers, like if you want to stop a pot from boiling,
just in the Two Rivers.
look at it. Yeah. And she's just
That's a saying everywhere, Egwene.
yeah. If it only were that easy to stop a pot from boiling. That's such a great retort.
That is great. I guess she's like talking about like him going mad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Also, it is easy to stop a pot from boiling. You just take it off the fire. It's not hard. It's super easy. Actually.
True.
That's a very good point, Brennan.
I get what she means, but
yeah.
Thanks, Alexa. Shut up.
So Alexa want to join the podcast?
Maybe.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, you're talking about going mad. Yeah, it almost looks like Moiraine's just staring at him like, is he crazy?
Yeah.
Is he crazy yet?
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell. Is he going crazy? Does that look crazy? What he just did, was that crazy? Yeah, that's not going to work. I like the whole bit. I mean, if you guys want to talk about anything else about that scene, I was going to jump over to like the wise ones with Moiraine and
Sure.
Go ahead.
I want to write a song called Egwene Moiraine Mullane.
Okay.
Say it 3, say it 5 times fast.
No.
Okay.
Not even going to try.
Try later.
Yeah, this is an interesting scene. I really like this scene. First of all, I want to shout out Mullane, who's just serving up cold, ice cold stares this entire episode. With those piercing blue eyes. Love it.
Yeah.
I want more of her.
I want to shout out Mullane for having so far the most confusing name in the show in 2 different directions. Because there's already an Elaine.
Oh,
True.
So that's annoying. And if you watch it with subtitles, it looks like Melanie.
It does. I called her Melanie until people didn't, and I was like, who is Mullane? And then I realized I can't read, and I would just every time I read her name, I just switched the letters so it said Melanie. Like, we were doing this podcast for a couple of years, and they were like, that's not who that is. Like, that's not her name.
you were saying Mulaney, I think, like John Mulaney.
Maybe. And I think that was just a joke because of the fact that Jordan just adds syllables at the ends of names.
That's true. I like Bear too. The wise ones are really killing it so far this season. The 2 of them, I really like them. I want more of them. Definitely one of the bright spots of the show, or unexpected bright spots. I mean, I was expecting them to be good, but they're really just, I don't know. I'm really liking them.
I almost felt like Bear was a little bit too like nice, and then the way she treated Couladin, I just enjoyed.
Want to put a dress on?
Yeah, you want to put if you want to be a wise one, put on a dress, and we'll see if you can do it. Like, okay, that's nice.
Well, she is a combination of Bear and Amis from the books, all right? So I know Bear's a little more harsher and Amis is a little more, I wouldn't say softer, but personable.
Yes.
So I guess she has to balance that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Emily is great. And what I guess in this, like, there's like, you know, Mullane kind of slips and says something she shouldn't say. I'm chalking that up to Egwene's Taviran, and it's just like that's a thing that happens sometimes. Taviran just get people right to like do like they're just luckier sometimes.
I'm not chalking that up. I'm chalking it up to they had to. I'm trying to remember if that happens in the books, but I'm chalking it up to some good writing there. That's what I'm chalking that up to.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting, this whole conversation, because Moiraine wants to know how they knew that she was coming, and then they start giving you all this like, well, if Rand didn't come, like Rand was 50-50. If Rand didn't come, he would certainly die, and the Aiel too. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, sometime, we didn't know Egwene was coming, but we knew you were coming. And I don't know, they start going through all this weird kind of like theory about it.
But they never say how. They just say that they knew.
Yeah. And then, like you said, Mullane blurts out, the Moiraine having to go through Ruidian, but then they talk about it like, will this affect, like, because you blurted it out, does it change anything? And they're like, well, I don't know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Like she was expecting them to know because of all the other stuff that they said they knew.
People are asking you if you're eating a Cadbury egg.
I am eating a Cadbury egg.
Yeah.
It's my last. It's my last one.
I knew it.
Sorry, I usually don't eat while we're podcasting.
Nailed it.
But I saw it sitting there, and it looked so tasty.
It sounded tasty.
It's a treat for the audience, really. We're an oral.
Do some ASMR in this.
Yeah.
Brendan, any thoughts about the wise one's knowledge of the future?
Well, they're called wise ones. So that pretty much summed it up for me. Like I understand Moiraine has to say something, but like, how'd you know we were coming? Well,
wise.
I mean, I was very down on the stuff in the Aiel wastes last week, and I stand by that. But it was done a lot better this week.
Yeah.
I mean, before we even get to like the bulk of the episode, it didn't seem like they were reading from the player's handbook this week.
Okay.
That's good. I'm glad.
I still don't think they've said Bear's name. I think I still only know that from subtitles, or really from you guys.
I don't think they have either. And also, Ruark was subtitled as Aiel Clan Chief or something. And I was like, what? Why don't you just put his name in? Like, why?
They said have said Ruark's name.
All right, maybe that person.
I think they have.
Yes, they have.
Yes, Bear said his name. When she dismisses them, she's like, Ruark, you too.
Yeah, but
his name's come up a couple times.
Called Shade of My Heart. That's it.
We kind of glossed over it, but Avienda getting her spears broken sucked. That was
so we didn't even get.
Oh yeah, I didn't get up to it. That's the next scene.
It was right after she fought Rand or Lan.
Yeah, that's next.
That's the next scene.
That's the next scene.
Outside while
right after the wise one thing.
I'm misremembering some things then. Okay.
Yeah, there's more wise one stuff later, but yeah, then there's the little sparring between Lan and Avienda. I like the hooting. The Aiel's like hooting during it. It sounded like it reminded me of like a Native American a bit, and I know that's one of the analogs that Jordan had kind of pictured the Aiel as.
Yeah, it's like they're calling everybody, like, get over here. There's a fight. Let's go.
I was
hyping each other up.
I grew up near the projects, and that's what it reminded me of. Like when a fight was happening, the same kind of a thing. It'd be like a lot of woo woo woo, and then everyone would circle it up. But yeah, and I loved Lan looked like he was having fun for the first time on the show. Like
that's true. Well, except in that bath. He was having fun.
Well.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think Lan was giving it his all, or?
I think he was having fun.
Yeah.
And
I don't think so.
It seemed like Avienda was also having fun, though, too.
I think she started to have fun, like, when they started fighting. Like, they were both laughing.
Yeah.
So.
I agree with Jen. I think she started having fun during the course of the fight.
Yeah.
When they started, she was just fighting.
Yeah. I guess she was.
And then you immediately find out why, because she's under which
really puts her whole her whole attitude towards Rand into a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, now, so do you think she purposely started the fight because she knew that was probably going to be the last time she would get to fight?
Oh, I don't know.
I think she just knew. She knew that this was coming, and she's probably pretty freaking upset about it.
Yeah.
I want to just Ayula's acting when the spears get broken is more. It's her best performance so far in the show. Like there's this, she reacts when the spears break, and then there's a beat as like she reacts like, and then there's a beat, and then she like the full emotion hits her, and she like shudders.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was such a like you don't normally see people do that in television, right? And it's such a real reaction of like there's an immediate shock, and then there's like the realization, and like your whole body reacts, and it was very well done.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right, their maidens of the spear are wed to the spear. So just like, think about if Bear just took your wife and snapped her over her knee, how you would feel.
I don't think I would react exactly the same way, but yes, I think,
three at one time, too. I mean, she just broke 3 spears at one time over her knee like it was nothing. It's tough.
And then Moiraine, who's been the coldest person in the universe for the first few episodes, like is then as like gentle and empathetic as a person could be to her.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's great.
That was I really like that scene in Moiraine's speech to Avienda. I thought was really good.
Yeah.
I'm really liking her character a lot. So, I agree with you, Tom. That was a really great scene. Just the both of them.
So were all the wise ones former spear maidens, or is that just okay?
No,
just like Bear,
or maidens of the spear, whatever.
Bear specifically has that kinship with her, but I imagine as the show continues, they'll get more into like how or why people are chosen to do that. But part of it is like, well, if you're wise.
Well, okay.
Right? Like it doesn't make a difference like what your background is. If we think that you can better serve the community in this role,
there's a whole other class just called the dumb ones.
Yeah.
Dumb ones.
They're the ones who keep fighting with spears.
Those are the chiefs, the clan chiefs and the sept chiefs and all those guys. We get the scene with Rand and Moiraine, which is I like this scene because clearly this is like we're going to close with or kind of a similar scene. Well, not similar scene, but almost the opposite of this scene at the end of the episode, right? Rand doesn't trust Moiraine still. He's like, you got to say these words and then I'll trust you because I know it's true because you can't lie. And she's like, I'm not saying that.
I love that she tries to like get through it and he's just like, not good enough. And that's the end of the conversation. He's like, I gave you a chance. You failed. Like,
yeah, she says like, I won't do anything to hinder your you fulfilling your destiny. That's about as best as she could get. She's like, but I'm not.
That's not what I asked.
I love too when like Moiraine's like, I also, asked to go to Ruidian, and it's just like, Moiraine. Right. Rand just says like, oh, come on, like stop. Why do you have to be with me always? Just like,
right.
I just love it.
Can I get a minute?
Yeah,
like his little sister following him around, or
right.
Well, now we're in that. Couladin's he asks permission like a woman. I love that.
That was funny because that's all he ever saw.
That's all he knows. Yeah. Right. Like
he put his arms out,
and it just gives you a sense to like, kind of riff off of Brendan's point from the prior episode. As much info dumping as they gave you, this is still an entire culture which we know an hour and 10 minutes worth of information about, right? So there's probably that gives an indication that there might be other things in the future that like are blind spots.
But that's like an easy show, don't tell kind of a thing. Like you just, that's what Avienda did, so that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I didn't even catch that, to be honest with you. I thought he was just
like he asks like a woman.
Yeah, I thought he was just being like, a jerk.
Oh no,
I didn't catch it either because I was busy being so goddamn mad that Couladin turns out to be a dark elf.
Oh, that's right.
He didn't surf up to the top of the mountain.
He didn't have a shield that turns into a surfboard. He didn't have a sword that turns into an electric guitar. What is even the point?
He is neither cool
nor is he a paladin.
This is Couladin. We're still waiting for Couladin to come.
We are.
So we keep waiting.
This is a cool version of Paula Dean. That's
they said it. I went, no.
Younger brother.
Couladin, terrible. Hate it.
They didn't say Muradin though, did they?
Yes, they did.
Muradin,
Muradin and Couladin.
But I don't think Rand said Muradin. I think he said Muradin.
He said his name.
Well, to your point, it's a little accent.
Yeah, I think it was.
When did he say his name? In the columns?
Yeah, he called out to him
yelling.
or something.
He was also yelling it over screaming wind.
He was.
Like literal wind that was filled with screams. So,
that's true. I'll give you that one. But we get an important thing right on the way there. Ruark talks about how he shows his arm, like the dragon on his arm, and he says, when a clan chief goes through, they get marked with the dragon. And he says when the Karakarn goes through, he's going to be marked with the dragon on both arms, not just the left.
So this is just like, so every time someone goes through there, they come out with, and they survive, which obviously a lot of people, including Moiraine, didn't. I'm just imagining like everyone who goes through there has a moment when they wake up and they look at one arm and they're like, and then they very slowly like,
not me.
like relieved but a little disappointed.
Yeah, I imagine so. Actually,
I imagine some are relieved and some are probably disappointed.
Yeah. Also, the trailer really makes it seem like that shot of Ruark's arm is in the trailer, but the trailer really makes it seem like it's Rand's arm.
Oh yeah, we thought it. Well, some of us thought it could have been somebody else's as well, but I'm not going to say who.
Okay,
that's a spoiler. We'll talk about that later, maybe.
That's a bad one.
So, Brendan, I want your thoughts on the Shido woman, Savannah, who showed up with her fabulous costume.
I mean, well, she's obviously evil.
Okay.
Aside from being a dark elf, you don't dress that flamboyantly in the Wheel of Time if you're aligned with if you're good aligned.
That's
if you're on the top line of the chart.
You don't go, well, my husband died, so I married his stepson because that guy was going to be clan chief next.
I was just
but you know what?
I hope it's her stepson. She doesn't really clarify. She just says, I married his son, but could have been
that's what that means.
It's a stepson or a first son, whatever they call them in the IL culture, because it could be, I
think
it's her stepson. I don't think that's her kid.
Stepson.
No, it's
her stepson, his son.
It's his son.
Yeah. Probably from another wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I hope.
No, I'm saying like he's married to multiple people. I don't even know if she's married to him. Because the culture, there's,
he's dead now.
But I wanted to say, like the way though, I guess I would ask Brendan, but it sounds like you agree with Tom and Jen. I was going to say, the way they played that scene played out, that conversation, like she's like, my husband, my husband died, I'm marrying his son, Muradin, who's going in there or whatever. I feel like that could have gotten away with, that's just another thing of the IL culture we just learned. Like, this is something that might be normal.
I think she just wanted to be married to the clan.
Yeah. But it was very matter-of-factly, and nobody, none of them, batted an eye or glanced at it, was like, oh.
Well, they're bad.
So tasteless.
Yeah.
Right. No, I mean the other side, the other ones. Bear and Moiraine and Ruark none of them were, scoffed at that.
Yeah, she's Savannah.
I didn't take it. I didn't take it as. First of all, I didn't really think about it that much. I'm not joking. I was too busy being annoyed that this was way cooler than this turned out to be. But yeah, I didn't really give it that much thought. But I think they didn't react because, well, of course, their reactions were like, well, of course, they're doing weird shit like that over there, and the dark elves.
That's why we have a blood feud with them.
Right.
That is true. That is true. There's a blood feud with them for sure. But I mean, when I first saw that, she looked like that's like an Egyptian princess type thing going on there.
Yeah.
Look, it's hot out there. You need some shade.
Yeah, I guess that keeps your head cool. I don't know.
Adine.
Oh. Anyway,
not cool.
Bear can channel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was unexpected. Yeah. Not for us, but
nor for me.
Really?
Yeah.
You had a thought that they could channel?
It never occurred to me that they couldn't. They were to me they were obviously Again, they're called the wise ones. They're the magic people in this culture.
Mhm.
That's as I say jokingly but sincerely in praise all the time. Robert Jordan did not use a lot of subtext.
It's true.
So
or subtlety. Subtlety is the word I wanted, not subtext.
Moiraine asked to go to Ruidian. They say yes. We learn about the 3 rings that she's going to go through. Rand's going to go through another part. One goes one way, one goes the other way, and everything's happy.
Now, is that like the women go through the rings, the men go through the columns? There's no like third option?
No.
Or like they can't like
well,
one
I mean,
can't go through.
So the women. So I will say this, and it's not really a spoiler. Just to kind of. I think I explained this last week. I don't remember, but if I didn't, so Avienda's going through the rings as she's not going to become a wise one by going through the rings. This is like her apprenticeship. It's almost like the accepted test, right?
Right.
So that's basically what this is for her. When she's ready to become a wise one, she's going to go through the columns.
Oh, okay.
So when you're a wise one, all the wise ones and chiefs go through the columns. They're the only ones who know, right? So she doesn't. Whatever she saw in the rings, that's her future. That doesn't tell her past.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
she
eventually
had her own version of whatever Moiraine did. You know?
Yeah, basically. So Moraine's going to see her future. Rand's going to go see his past. We get.
I love this little ceremony where they're dead to the dead cannot speak and they cover their faces like.
Yes.
Why didn't they do that for Avienda?
Because
we didn't see them.
They didn't go with her. She just ran off.
Oh, that's right. Maybe because they only do that with the clan chiefs, like when men go through the columns. Maybe that's a column ritual. I have no idea, Jen. That's a good question.
She also ran away before they had a chance to do the whole thing.
Wait, the ritual. Oh, forget it.
To us.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Why do they have to break her? You know what? That just makes it that much worse. Why do they have to break her spears if she's going to have to leave them outside anyway? Man.
True. I love the fact that
I think those are clan chief spears, not.
That's as mean.
I think
or not clan chief spears.
No.
People who want it to be clan chief.
Potential.
The hopefuls.
Right. Here's the first one, and then it's just a ring around.
Yeah. So all of those spears, then I guess, are from people who went into Ruidian and never came back.
But what did Rand and Moiraine put down there? He put a sword down?
Yes.
Yeah, and she put
Moiraine put down so many knives.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Did they get them on the way out, though?
Well, they did it on camera, but yes,
presumably. Well, remember Lan and Egwene were there, like right there at that spot. Like they were all there at that spot, so they could have picked them up.
It's going to be kind of disappointing if Rand got the sword back. You kind of missed the point there.
Well, he does say he can at the beginning in that conversation with Lan that he can never be Aiel.
Well, that's before he did this.
That's right before he had a pretty significant experience.
That's true. So let's talk about that.
Before we move on to that, I did really like. I think it was the last line before the title card. Moiraine looks at Rand and says, "Are you ready?" And he says, "No," and starts walking. Mm-hmm. It was just like wanted him to turn to the camera and say, "Hi, I'm Rand al'Thor. I'll be your protagonist this evening."
Oh, that's great.
That's it.
They go into Ruidian, right? It's a fog shrouded city that Moiraine notes. It's like weird that she can almost kind of see wisps of the one power in the fog, and we'll learn later on, I guess, why. I feel like we're going to be talking about stuff that we already know. So I don't know how you want to do that. We can talk about it right now or wait till we get to that point.
Yeah, well, I think it's enough to kind of say like, hey, there's something going on with this, and the fog acts in it moves oddly, and it kind of obviously it behaves in a weird way that it's always there.
And it's dry, Moiraine says, so it's not like moisture fog.
Right.
It's not real fog.
Yeah.
It's magic fog.
It's magic fog.
Yeah. That sounds like a great, like a 70s band or something, Magic Fog.
Yeah.
Like a rock band, maybe a progressive rock band from the 70s. The tree, right? We see Avendesora, sorry.
Whoa.
The tree, yeah.
Oh my God, Joe. What an embarrassing blunder.
I know.
I sure hope someone got fired for that one.
The Tree of Life, which is over 3,000 years old, and we of course see later on why that is. So I have to point this out now, right? Jumping ahead, they left with 10,000 trees.
Yeah. Yep.
So
She puts the magic Sakarnan Sangreal in this one, and this is the only one out of the 10,000 that make it.
She doesn't put it in there.
They put it in there.
Well, he does.
They put it in there.
Yeah, he puts it in.
But it's the only one left.
No, it's traveling. It's he puts it in there on the wagon.
Yeah, but did you see any other ones
And it's
at
in
that
the
point?
No, look, he puts it in the tree in the wagon. If you notice in the flashbacks, I think it's the one with what's his name, Lewin. When the boys are in there, you see the orb in the middle of the Chora tree.
You see the orb in the tree every time. You
I
see
know.
it in the other
What
one.
I'm saying. No, I know. What I'm saying
That's
is
the only one that survived.
there were 10,000 of them, and the only one that survived was the one that had the orb in it.
I would say
those are Rand's ancestors guarding that one.
I'm just saying. Well, it's the pattern, right?
Do we know that do we know that none of the other trees survive? The other trees matter. They don't have the magic thing in it.
Yeah, my brother, who also hasn't read the books, is my older brother, is watching the show, and he's like, "Oh wow, there must be a bunch of other trees out there." Right,
Wow.
and I was like, maybe.
Or the Sakarnan protected that tree. Yeah.
Or it's
they protected the tree.
Or there's a mechanic within the whole world called the pattern that kind of makes things happen that should happen.
Or it's a book that someone wrote. Whatever.
We could pull it. Yeah, let's pull it all the way out to that.
And Jen, that kind of shit's my line. Come on.
Yeah. So Moiraine tells the story about her uncle who basically started a war with the Aiel.
Yeah.
Because the Aiel gave him a piece of the tree for him to plant and grow, and he decided to turn it into a throne.
Well, yeah,
it's funny
because him. That apparently had been there for a very long time, and then he's like, "I want a tree.
I want a throne that nobody else can have or make."
If everyone had just stood aside and let the Aiel walk through,
but they
they'd
didn't know.
just beeline straight to him, and then left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Joe. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, the entire Aiel war was just a bunch of clans going to kill one dude and no one realizing it, and so they fought the clans with armies. Yeah. If they just got oh, it's just him? You're here for him? Okay.
And they also refer to it the Aiel don't even think of it as a war because they didn't send that many Aiel over. To them, it was kind of like a raid, which is always funny. When you to hear about that side of it or their side of the war. But I like how they connect. They talk about how it connects Rand and Moiraine together because he's basically your uncle's the reason why,
the prophecy
you have been fucking up my life since before I was born.
Yeah.
Lady. Thank you so much.
I would have grown up. He would have grown up in the Aiel waste as an Aiel if the war didn't happen. So, I like how they made that connection there because they don't really do that in the book. I don't ever remember them Rand thinking oh, it's your uncle's fault that this kind of happened, or it's kind of blaming him a little bit and Moiraine on that.
Yeah, well, I think they find it out in different ways. Sorry, Brennan.
No, it's fine. So, is it that if the Uncle Layman thing hadn't happened, is it that Rand wouldn't have been the dragon and the dragon would have been someone else, or it just wouldn't have happened?
That's
we don't know.
That's a whole nother episode of conversation.
Was meant to happen. Yeah.
I think that's where
that was prophesied to happen.
I think
and that was it.
That's the thing that you get into you get into the metaphysics of the world, and you get the metaphysics of this pattern, capital P,
Right.
and like how many things are predestined versus what kind of free will do we have? Like,
Okay.
like all of these things had to happen in this particular way for the dragon to be reborn as prophesied, and they did. So like, did Layman do what he did because he wanted to, or did he do what he did because the pattern made him? Like, how do you judge that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, from Bran's point of view, like, maybe some other poor sap 20 years down the line could have been it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just building on the conversation that the two of them had earlier, like giving him more reason not to trust her and to be angry with her. So I like how they're
even though it's not her fault.
But what I thought
it's not like she insulted the guy's throne.
No, I know, but
like,
you could tell. You could tell he's like, oh, freaking, of course, you're related to the guy who kind of caused some of this to happen.
I thought this conversation was like a little wasn't negative between them.
I feel like there was resentment.
Like, you think there's anything that he saw that would cause him to be like, I'm waiting for Moiraine, I'm not leaving without her?
That's a whole conversation I want to have later, because I have a question about that, and we'll get to that one, because I think that's an interesting one for sure.
I just feel like he was like, really quick though, I just feel like he was saying like, oh, like this is just like fate, like we've always been connected, like there's no, like,
well, that's what she says, right?
That's what right. He says, like, but if your uncle didn't do this, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, he might be just getting at fate. Mad at fate.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. I think he was just saying that, like, well, this is fate. We've been connected this whole time. But also, I do not get the sense that Rand is enjoying himself.
No.
Yeah.
So
no,
like
but it's not like her that did it. Well, it is in a way, but it's not like she did something to him. It was like this was gonna happen, and we were connected. Like this is meant to. What's happening is meant to happen, and.
But I think he's really looking for. He's looking for the freedom to act without her. Like, in his mind, like tying more strings around him, and here's just another string that the pattern itself is tied from her to him. That, like, he's just trying to, like,
he wants to be rid of her.
Yeah, well, he wants to be able to do what he wants to do, not what anyone else wants him to do. Something that she's just a few, I guess last night is unwilling to allow him to do that. She can't give him that I'll follow your lead. So I do think that there's some resentment to the fact that, like, here's just another string tying us together, even if it's not blame.
Yeah. So Rand sees the crystal. We all see the crystal columns, right? The beautiful wonder that is those crystal columns. And Rand starts to walk through, like almost like inadvertently. It seems like he was like, oh, I guess I'm walking through these columns now. And you can see Muradin in front of him, just kind of standing there, flabbergasted, I guess. I don't know. You really don't see his face, I think, at this point.
You know what I was thinking? Like, Rand, whatever, is the Karakarn, and his ancestors happen to be involved in a lot of very important things.
That's probably
right, but like Moradin, like Moradin's what if Moradin's ancestor from that time period wasn't there? Is there there has to be like different moments, I guess, where like other people realize it's not just like you're on the other side of the camp and you're like, oh, what's going on over there? Like, you're not, I don't know. I was trying to think of like how each person is involved in how everybody's ancestors are like having a moment like this that's so important, and like,
I think there's one of two. There's 1,000 possibilities, but the two possibilities that leap to mind are you only go back to the most important moment in your given ancestor's life.
Yeah, it's not going to be the
same. It has to do with this.
The most impactful.
Yeah, right.
I mean, whether it has to do with the pattern or just like whatever the most important thing that happened to them, or like, or for a lot of them, it's boring.
But they have to. They have to like.
That's why they die. That's why they die.
Right.
It's too fucking boring.
Right. Like here's the thing, especially in the way that the show tells the story, and yeah, you don't see generations of time in between, so who knows like who they meet or whatever. But it does look at a certain point like everyone goes back to like Lewin and Jarn or like that
Really?
Lewin era.
Well, yeah.
Like,
So Ray
there's
Richards,
only a couple of them that become IU.
Ray Richards in chat is saying like
Yeah, that's true.
everybody has to have an ancestor who eventually rejected the way of the leaf and
Right.
became,
Well,
otherwise
became-
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
they wouldn't be here.
Yes, it's not going to be the same
That makes
exact
sense.
events
Yeah.
for everybody. Like you said,
Right.
I mean, there might have been a lot of people who were at that whole thing with Lewin when they, they killed, they broke the way of the leaf.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's going to be other people who break it as well because there's only 3 guys.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Right.
the other people
2 guys.
join. No, 2 guys. Sorry, sorry. There's
Right, they
only
had to
2
repopulate
guys.
the earth.
Yeah, I mean, at one point it's a guy and his grandson, and they're the only 2.
Well, no, they say
Right.
we're going to meet. Remember,
There's
they said
other
we're going to
people.
meet the
Yeah.
others across
Oh, I
the
got to talk
spine.
about that part when we get up to that part too. 'Cause I'm confused about.
But
who's
clearly,
who.
like other people join them,
all right.
right?
Yeah.
So there's, like you
Sure,
said, there's.
well, sure.
It's going to be everyone's ancestors, point where they do break that oath.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but the first flashback. So let's talk about the first flashback. Rand is his father, Janduin, and he's on that familiar mountainside, snowy mountainside that we saw in the cold open of episode 7 of the first season.
And he kills Layman.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's. I don't remember if that happens in the books, but
That does, it's not addressed.
I don't think we. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think they say who did it. But and they find Rand's mother dead. This is Rand finally meeting his real parents.
Right.
And well, I guess he doesn't see himself, so he's not really meeting his dad. I don't know how that works.
Well, he is his dad.
He is his dad. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if you count that as meeting his dad. But he meets his dead mother, and that's not a happy experience for him.
Well, no.
But it all works out. He gets, baby Rand gets taken to a good home, the Althor farm.
In Smallville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and nice little combat scene they threw in there, but they didn't overdo it. So I was concerned. One of my concerns was that they were gonna make this fight, because we all knew that they were gonna do some sort of fight, because I think we saw it in the trailer or whatnot, was going to be better than the cold open of episode 7,
No.
season 1. And I was like, no, they can't.
They
make
just
it
kill
better.
some punks. I feel like Janduin stabbing the guy with the spear, then stabbing him with a second spear and spitting on him. Like, that was nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
So
That was-
not only kill me, but let me disrespect you as much
That
as
was
I can.
it's very tasteful, I think. Second flashback.
Triple H Rand.
Yeah.
I thought the is Roderick, is that the first clan chief?
Mandine.
Mandine. It looks like Triple H.
He looked very caveman-y to the
Yeah.
point where I thought that this was much, much farther. That's not a joke.
No, that's
Like
cool. I think they had to come up with, different looks for him, and,
he has a
like
very
caveman
yeah.
look.
Yeah.
Brendan, I want to ask you this question. During this flashback, did you notice their accents? Did that
no, nothing in particular.
okay, because they had the more Irishy accent, like the Tinkers did from the first season, and I was wondering if it was like,
okay. Well, yeah. Now that you pointed it out, yes, but again, it did not. I was very focused. I was really thinking, like, is this
When is
caveman days? No, wait, that doesn't make any sense, because this is the future. Not you had a very prominent brow.
Yeah.
he did. Yes. I will say, right, this is something that I believe when we interviewed Ayula Smart after the second season, she talked about the accents, right? I think it was when we interviewed her, right? And she
Yeah.
talked about, and she kind of, it was almost like it could have been a spoiler if people really listened to it. She talked about like the mix of Irish and Slavic accent that they did
Okay.
Yeah.
deliberately, because they were trying to show that connection to the Tinkers, who all the Tinkers had, very Irish accents.
Right.
So this first jump back, that's the first thing I noticed, especially with the woman. Maybe not Yosha, Rand or whatever his name, Mandine as much, but I was like, oh, they're doing the Irish accent. I love it. Yeah, this was a really cool scene. I did like the whole conversation with I don't remember what her name was.
Latra?
No.
The wife.
No, the wife, his wife.
I don't know.
No name.
She talks about how her and her sisters saw something in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a little bit of dream reference there. And then she goes, right, they go into the city and Latra's there. Old Latra, who we meet later on as back to young Latra. And she pulls out that magical orb, talks about them, going through the columns, and
she makes the fog.
She
forces them to go through the columns, basically, because I don't think they could leave without going through the columns. It almost looks like they wrapped around the... maybe not, because I guess you could get to the tree another way.
Yeah, I think
the way she did it looked like it was like around them, but I guess it's not unless they move.
No, because you could walk up to the tree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But I wanted to ask a question here because she talks about oath breakers, right? Them being oath breakers. Do you think she does this whole thing to punish them as like a punishment for them for breaking their oaths?
No, I don't think so. She's seen, right? She's the one who prophesies the Karn. She knows what the future holds. And I think she knows that like to lead the Aiel, like you need to know why you are the way you are. I don't think there's a punishment involved in it. She doesn't seem to be vindictive at all doing it, at least not to me.
Well, she calls them oath breakers. Like I feel like she mentions.
But is that like a way to get them to go through the columns? Yeah. It's like, we're not oath breakers. I'll go in and look. Like it offends them, so they have to like see what she's talking about.
It's also like, I mean, she calls them oath breakers, and maybe this is just my particular interpretation, and maybe I'm getting ahead of this, but I almost feel like part of the point of going through the whole thing is learning that sometimes you got to do that, or else the world will be destroyed by an evil thing stealing your magic pearl.
I like that. I like that. I also liked how they run the wise ones' words over and over through like this to kind of. Yeah. I think it's a really good tool for viewers, right? Reminding them of like what the wise one said. These are important words and how this is actually how it's turning out to or playing out. So I thought that was really cool, and they also kind of distort them at certain points. Yeah, like and make it sound really weird and distorted. So I love all of the sound and music in this episode was amazing.
The sound editing in this episode is bananas.
Yes.
When we get to the final flashback, like I love that too.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah,
I did also like when Latra asks them, "Why do you not carry swords?" And Mandane is like, "It is forbidden." She's like, "Well, yeah, that's what forbidden means." or like, "Thank you for explaining, but why?" And they're like, "Oh, we don't know."
So Latra knows, I guess, all of this. I'm assuming she knows. Well, yeah, because obviously she wouldn't be there. It's kind of funny how she gives that the Sakarnan, right, to them to take for safekeeping, and then she comes later and gets it.
But she leaves it there.
Well, it's much, much later.
Oh, I know, much, much later. Yeah, obviously she didn't know that she was still going to be alive and stuff, but I like that it came full circle with that part where she was like, "Oh, here it is." I guess. I was going to say, how would she even know that it made it? But I guess we could say the same thing of when Moiraine picks it up. later.
Well, I think there's a different answer for that, and that's for me at least. That's for the latter half of the show.
Okay.
There's book spoiler stuff there.
All right. Third flashback.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is Lewin. This is where we have a little baby tree of life where you see the Sicarnan in there and Frodo, Merry, and Pippin.
Yes.
Yeah, and also, Rand, Matt, and Perrin.
Rand, Matt, and Perrin.
Yeah.
And this is where you find out that they're tinkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they're there's a lot more in common, at least.
Yeah, well, they're not tinker. Well, they once followed the way of the leaf, I should say.
They follow the way of the leaf, yeah.
But there clearly was a branching off, which I think we see later on, of the Aiel, the people who become Aiel, and the people who kind of remain tinkers and following the way of the leaf. This is a really... This one is... I don't know. Is this the one... Is this your favorite one? Do you guys have a favorite flashback?
I think this is the most emotional flashback.
Yeah, I think so too. The woman who played his mother, that scene where she's casting him out. That was good. She was good.
How good.
So good.
Man, that line about I had a son with a face that looked like that. Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if this is a closed caption joke because I didn't actually see the beginning, but after that scene, I noticed that it said Maigen's mother as her name when she was speaking and not Lewin's mother. But I don't know if it said she was Lewin's mother before that. So, but I noticed it after. I was like, oh, she's not Lewin's mother anymore, so they can't credit her as Lewin's mother.
You think they got that granular with these? This is the best.
This is a closed captioning joke. You guys, hearing people will get this one.
This is the best closed captioning person known to man. They put the best person on the job where he captures even he's thinking when he's doing it or she's thinking when she's doing it. Wait, no, I can't credit this person as Lewin's mom anymore.
Yeah,
I need to change that.
I love that.
I mean, I don't know if it was intentional, but it ought to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best closed captioning person in the world.
Yeah.
They got the best on the job.
Person to raise.
So I was kind of frustrated, right? They find out that their sister, right? His sister and the other, I guess it's the other one's.
Both of their sisters.
Right? Are missing. And all Aiden can say is, all will be well.
Well,
wow.
Yeah, he's like, and I mean, whatever, you get that. He's like, what we do is we accept it and we move on. That's what we do. Right?
I feel like he's gaslighting them, though. All will be well. No, it's not going to be well.
That's it. It's over. She's gone.
They're still alive, and you're leaving them there to be beaten and, whatever by these guys. All will not be well for you. All will be well.
For them.
Yeah, all will not be well for them.
Pretty well for us, but not for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, it's right? If you follow the way of the leaf.
That's it.
Right? That's it. That it's not about our happiness now. It's about the idea that if you do this long enough, right,
you'll be dead.
The peace will be there everywhere, right?
Well,
if we do this,
if you do this long enough, you'll be dead. But if you stop doing it long enough, you'll be dead too. That's what happens to everybody.
That's true. This is true.
Except Platra.
Well, yeah. Well, that's true. So there's one thing in here I feel like that they kind of made a mistake or it doesn't make any sense. When they go to sneak into the camp, the bandit immediately tells the guy, references that it's his sister. How would the bandit know that it's his sister?
He's a young man, relatively close in age to the two little girls he just kidnapped.
But there's two other guys there.
Probably his big brother. There's two. Yeah. Okay. He kidnapped two young women, and 3 young men have come to save them. The most logical explanations is that they're either their boyfriends or their older brothers.
No.
Right. And
okay.
Maybe he's been stalking them for a while and he saw them together.
I like that.
Also, the girls could have talked about their brothers. Probably not talked about their brothers coming to rescue them because they're weird, fanatic Amish. But
Right.
I shouldn't say that. Yes, I should. No, Amish
Girls
people
are absolutely useless. They don't even get up to run like immediately.
No, and they rat him out too when he gets back.
Well, I mean, it's not ratting out. It's there's one tenant of our entire life, and they just shattered it.
Oh, well, maybe we should just put you back. Go back to the bandits.
Yes,
No.
they should have.
No.
That's what everyone thinks, except for those two guys.
Very
Is
good.
that
Well,
not
two
everyone,
guys now.
but
right?
by the way, when Lewin hit that guy, it looked like he took his face off.
Yeah,
Right
I
through,
think
right
it went
through
like
his-
cut through his face.
His face right off.
Took his face.
Yes,
Oh.
Yes.
that's what it looked like. It looked like in Face Off when they're doing the surgery and like they're pulling their faces off.
They
It
got
was
hit with
just
a
like,
spear in the
Right?
face.
yeah.
The end of this particular flashback, it's not funny, but maybe it's a little grimly funny for me, because the implication is that Lewin and flashback Matt are going to become like they're gonna keep following them and protect them.
Yes.
Yeah.
They accidentally killed a couple of bandits and got their other buddy killed. They don't know what they're doing.
But they did level up by that
And
experience.
yes, that's true.
They have more experience than any of the other people there.
Yeah.
And like obviously it works out, but also like they have this very badass declaration and they pull their masks up. But like, you guys don't know how to fight.
They're
You
gonna
accidentally
learn.
killed that guy. It was an accident.
They're gonna learn, Brendan. They're gonna train.
Of course they are.
Did you want?
But it's just
Did you want a training montage after that scene?
A little montage. We're fighting with spears.
The other bandits immediately come up and murder them like 6 hours later.
I do feel like it was like what an eventful night. You're your first warrior Aiel. They decide what weapons they use. They decide what they do when they fight people. They're gonna cover their faces. Like all of these things are like, okay, we've got our shit now. We got our gimmicks. Let's just go with this.
Well, I like
again.
They also say like, let's cover our faces so they don't recognize us. And the guy's like, "You're her brother."
Well, he doesn't cover his
He didn't
face.
cover his face.
Oh, he didn't? Okay.
But the cool part of this is because you think that you're like, oh, this is why the IEL do it, so people can't see them, and then you realize later on that's not why they do it, because when the mother says, you know, cover your face, you're not my son, it's really shame.
Yeah,
They're covering their face because they broke their oaths.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I think those are lines right from the book, right?
yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
I think a bunch of that conversation, or almost that whole conversation, was directly from the books. They take the girls back, though. I guess it's like
Girls didn't kill anybody.
no, I know, but you know, fruit from the poison.
The mom was also like,
They
"Don't
were
say that."
obtained by violence.
Right.
Like if you didn't say it, no one would have known.
Yeah, that's true.
Just lie about it.
Just lie about it. They couldn't, but Migrant told on her big brother. It's
Loser.
a very kid thing to do. She's like,
She's not even a kid. She's like 18.
Whatever.
It's not like he took money out of the cookie jar.
She's like D from What's Happening. Ooh, I'm gonna tell Mama.
It was an
Dude,
accident.
he.
And the guy was attacked. He killed his friend.
I know they killed his friend.
Yeah, well, whatever. Like,
You guys really don't get the you guys really don't get the way to leave, do you?
Chara. No, I don't get it.
Okay.
Shall we move on?
I mean, I don't agree with it, but I understand it. It's
Shall we move on?
You don't get like 3 strikes and you're out.
no,
It's like,
one
what?
strike,
No.
one strike.
They're very
I mean,
strict.
Yeah,
this incidentally is when they cut to Moiraine. I don't know if we want to do that or finish out Rand stuff or what, but
Well, they do cut,
after this flashback.
They do cut to first to Muradin.
Yeah.
If you notice, he
He's doing
hasn't
well.
moved at all since Rand got there. Rand's. I think has he gone past him at this point? Yeah, because
No, he passes him
he's starting to
after
pull out
this.
his eyes, right?
So I wonder if he's at the spot of this.
yes.
And that's where he stops and closes his eyes out. He can't go any farther than that.
I think this is probably the spot where a lot of the clan chiefs or prospective clan chiefs don't make it past. It's the whole
the one guy doesn't make it past the Oathbreaker part.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, no.
She called me an Oathbreaker.
It's windy in here. I don't like it.
It's gonna lay down and see what happens.
It wasn't the flashbacks. It was the intense wind or gravitational pull back the other way. Do you want to cut to Moiraine, or you want to continue on with this?
No, let's do it. I think
I have no strong feelings.
Yeah. Okay. Just do Moiraine.
All right. Moiraine. There's some sort of weird earthly shaking or trembling. I don't know. Something's going on where the ground, you see the ground kind of shake a little bit. Moiraine gets kind of curious. And I guess she senses the Sicaran in the tree. I think I heard some people I saw people were having a conversation about this, about how does she know it's there. I'm guessing that she could just sense it because it's a powerful Sangreal, right? I don't know.
Again, I think we talk more about this in the post-Brendan part. Yeah.
There was also like that weird thing, like
there was something to say like, too. Hey, if you want to try and make a find secret door check.
That was her passive spot check. Yeah, that's probably what it was. So we get to the 3 rings, and Avienda's already in there doing her little floaty thing. She does not look like she's having a good time. It's weird. Like, you would think some people have happy futures, potential futures, right? Well,
No, that threefold land, man.
Yeah, I guess not here. And Moiraine steps in. We get a first few futures from Moiraine. It looks like one with her in the love shack with. When I saw that, I thought it was Avienda, and I
who is
took
it?
a screenshot. I think it's supposed to be Swan, but
it's Swan.
It's probably not Sophie, but it could be like a stand-in.
It's Swan, but it's not.
I think that's what Kate was saying.
I couldn't tell. I kept trying to see them, but they were so short that if I went back 10 seconds, it was like 2 scenes. I'm like, oh my God. I kept having to watch the scenes like over and over again.
Well, she was wearing similar outfit to what Avienda was wearing when she went in, cause like with the baggy pants and kind of like the tighter top part. So that's why I thought it was her for a minute. We have Egwene is a keeper. All these different futures that Jen mentioned. I don't know if there's anything that you guys want to talk about in this particularly, but
is it Lanfear in the scene where Lan's burning to death?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You guys keep referring to these as the future. I took them as more potential futures.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're
not all going to happen.
All right, fine.
These are all possible.
Just wanted to make sure we were
yes.
Possible. Yeah, it's 1,000 futures, right?
Because if all of those things are happening, she's going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many times can your throat get slit?
But mostly a bad time.
Brendan.
Yes.
You thought here it is, because I think we've been waiting for this. You said you thought Moiraine would have been better if Moiraine was the Amerlin and Swan was the one out there. This is what happened. You see what potentially could happen if Moiraine became Amerlin now.
Well, it potentially could happen if Moiraine became Amerlin. That's not exactly what I said. I didn't say I thought Moiraine should be Amerlin and Swan should be Moiraine.
Yeah.
I said they should have switched jobs at the start of all this, not now.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah.
Right. Too late.
There's
now.
a difference.
Oh,
that's late now.
They've already fucked it all up.
Exactly. They're already fucked it up now.
Yeah. Yeah. She tries to bond Rand. There's a lot of killing of Rand going on in this one. Even her swearing to him. I will move on to the 4th flashback if there's no more talk. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right. This is old man Jonai. Oh, it's Aiden who was the guy.
Aiden's the kid.
Yeah, but he was the old guy. He was the old guy in the last flashback. The one who said, "Oh, we'll be well." The grandfather. It's the same guy.
Right.
The kid and him are supposed to be the same people.
This flashback and coming on the heels of the previous flashback was the only time I was kind of disappointed in the flashbacks, because I was really hoping that after I already forgot Frodo Rand.
Yeah.
Has the he has the disagreement with his grandfather. I was really hoping that we would just see that scene again with Rand as the grandfather.
Oh,
Right.
And we didn't, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I thought that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
but
Oh,
we
yeah.
did see the grandfather. As
Well,
a boy.
Well, yeah, we see
Yeah, his
we see the
grandfather's
grandfather's
grandfather.
grandfather.
Yeah.
Old man Rand.
This is where they switch to the old tongue, right? This is the first one where they start talking the old
Using
tongue.
the old tongue,
So
yeah.
somewhere,
Yeah.
so if you really think about it, it was only like 60, 70 years maybe that it took to switch to the old tongue because,
They weren't fully in the old tongue, were they?
yeah, I think this whole one is in the old tongue.
Really?
no,
It isn't?
no.
I think there's some
There's
English
some.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
okay,
half and half.
okay.
common or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He only. I think the all will be well part is in the old tongue.
Definitely, yeah. Okay. So, I probably didn't even realize it because...
Right.
So that
This
makes
is where
sense then. This is like now, this is probably where they're starting to switch, or lose the old tongue.
Yeah, and this is if you can believe the woman who starts the Tinkers, this is a few hundred years
Yeah.
after the start, after they leave after they're charged on their mission.
This is probably about 100. I'm trying to remember. How did the
there's
how long did
like
the break
200
in?
years.
It was 200 years, right? So okay.
Yeah.
So the woman who leaves, that's the Tinkers that are still in the Westlands.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
everybody-
where they.
okay.
This is
That's what I was
where
getting-
another split happens. An earlier split apparently happens. Like some of them are just like, we're not going to Ruidian or looking for Ruidian anymore. We're just going to settle down because all of the
they're going to look
men-
for a place of safety. They're going to wander and try and
Yes.
find a place of safety. So
This is what this is basically the modern day Tinkers then.
right,
Yeah.
and they forgot in a similar way why they're wandering. Right,
Yes.
they're like
Well, they're looking for
now
the
they
song.
think now they're looking for a song. But literally, what they started to do was just look for a place that they can settle down,
Yeah.
and they never found one because the world's still shitty. Like.
Well,
Yeah. So there's a few riffs that happen. We learn here.
So then, like these, like Jonai and his, is he completely alone? Well, he meets up
No.
with other people.
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
meeting
And
with
then
other people.
all of those people eventually either die or become
So you mean that
the
are you talking about
modern
the,
day Aiel.
are you talking about the old guy who could barely lift a daffodil
Yeah.
but was able to pull a wagon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I took that he was so old that he didn't have fine motor skills.
Yeah, no,
anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
So I guess like eventually Lewin and his friend have like more people joining them
Yes. And,
as more people start to break the way and leave.
Yes.
Right. And Latra says, I want to be clear, right? The Aiel that we know do not build the city. The Aiel that keep the way of the leaf built that city. And they're all dead now, and that's what caused Latra to call the clan chiefs in.
what'd they build it on, Tom?
Rock and roll.
You know it.
Rock,
on.
definitely. I don't know about Ron.
So
I'm sorry. This is for Skeeter. They built this city on G.A.
This is right. So yeah, like that's it's kind of subtly said, but like the Aiel are going and building Ruidian, like the true Aiel, the ones who stay true to the mission, right? And when the last of them die, that's when Latra calls for the clan chiefs to come in because there's nobody left who knows.
Well, those guys aren't they're not real clan chiefs, right? They're just kind of
Well, they are, but they
Leaders.
They
just,
will be. They
Yeah.
will be.
yeah.
Yeah.
The would-be clan chiefs, the ones who
Yes.
don't. Yeah, if they can handle the history, then they become right.
The ones who make it past the third column, Muradin.
Yeah, that's right.
Please.
We also have more dreamers, right? There's talk. Jonai talks about his
Daughter.
His
Yeah,
daughter
his
dreamed,
daughter.
right,
Yeah.
of the city. So this is more dreaming going on. This is like obviously a recurring theme. But yeah, so they split off. And that's the end of this one, right? He pulls the wagon with his grandson.
Yeah, the grandson. I have a note here. Aiden dragging the rope is either adorably heartbreaking or heartbreakingly adorable, and I can't decide which.
Yeah, just like
I think it's
But, yeah.
heartbreakingly
It's
adorable.
like it's like aw, but aw.
Yeah. It's like when you're. I'm trying to think of like. I remember when I was a little
Hold
kid.
the flashlight. Just hold the flashlight.
Yeah.
yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when you think you're the one making something move, but it's really your parent, your dad, or something like that, or your mom pushing it behind you. Okay, next fifth flashback.
Hold the flashlight.
Fifth already?
This is the fifth flashback.
Fifth flashback. We're ready. Is this Roderick?
Roderick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Roderick. We're in Brendan. Brendan, what'd you think about the landscape going on in this one?
I was very pleased.
Mm-hmm.
Back in my favorite part of the. I think actually I was not 100% sure on the time.
This is the end.
This is the end of all that.
This is right after. I would say, right after or relatively soon after Luz's plan goes swimmingly well.
Yeah. I'm always happy to be back in the Age of Legends, and I was only mildly distracted by the fact that this ancestor and the next one looks so much like Anakin Skywalker. It has to have been intentional.
Well, especially the next one.
At different stages of his development.
Yeah, it's weird. The books were written before the prequels came out, and technically, that's what they're described as having in the books, like the rat tail thing. Right. But yeah, it's like very much like, well, you're gonna put it in, lead into it.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, he kind of looks similar to Hayden Christensen. They got a similar,
cheekbone.
look to them.
I don't mean it as a bad thing.
No,
but it was a thing.
Yeah, things don't look too good in the distance. There's lots of dark clouds and lightning and fire in the sky.
And they've got robo wagons.
Yeah, we talked about the 10,000 trees, 10,000 wagons with 10,000 trees with one Sakarnan. And this is where they swear to keep the way of the leaf. Yeah. So they did change this a little bit from the books, and we could talk about this later. So I'll highlight this one because I definitely want to talk about this.
This was also when I realized, I actually didn't even realize this until I watched it again today, that the old lady who talks to Caveman Rand,
right,
and the other chiefs is her, yeah, and she's the same. She is the person who's talking to Luce Darren in the first. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's the same actress.
I did not realize that they were the same character and actress.
Yeah,
I don't know if the old version.
She's not. The old person's not the same actress.
Yeah,
but
I didn't realize that was the same character.
Yeah,
until
this is Latra. She is the Amerlin, right?
Yeah,
right. From that's what we learned in the first season, that this was the Amerlin back then. It sounds like I want to get everyone's thoughts on this, right? They mentioned brothers, and are they talking about the men going mad? That's what they're saying, they're brothers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure because of the way they phrased it. Maybe it was my old tongue wasn't so good. And then we hear about the two Sa'angreal, right? The Sakarnan, which is the little globe, and then Kalendor, which was mentioned in the first episode a few times in Tyr, and they talk about how it's in the Stone of Tyr, and that's the male one, and then there's the female one, and then I guess, I don't know.
And I like that, she just names again, subtlety, who needs it. The male Sa'angreal will be protected by war, and I will give the female Sa'angreal to peace.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
Right? It's in a fortress and it's protected by soldiers and
other nasty things.
Yeah. And this one, I'm protecting people who are peaceful folk that will not, that cannot fight.
Yeah. She talks. She brings up Lanfear and Miran Sedai, who was Lanfear before she was Lanfear. That's her name. Who opened the Dark One's prison. So go Lanfear, and we'll see that in a minute. This was. We'll talk about it afterwards. Sorry.
You just want me to go?
No. I
just wanted to say, Brett.
I looked at my notes and it was a spoiler note.
Yeah, Joe's like, oh, we want. I said that this might be the one where we're gonna have the longest post Brendan.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, no, that's not really that much. I'm like,
And I do think for every Rand flashback, Joe has said we'll talk about this after Brendan.
Yeah, I feel like I have, but I only highlighted one or two of them. So we cut back to present day. Moirain's not making it. He's he's not going to make it. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sixth flashback.
I don't think we mentioned it, but at some point when Rand is coming out of one of the flashbacks, he just steps on a skeleton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he crushes right through it. That's
Just-
the one. That's the second one. Like that guy.
was it that
guy,
early? Okay.
That guy couldn't make it to. Wait.
Yeah.
They called us Oathbreakers. I can't go any further.
Yes. I don't know. Maybe his great grandfather was somebody embarrassing. I don't know.
I actually
Maybe
imagine
that guy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Jen.
Maybe that guy had to experience his ancestor going through the columns. So he was in the columns experiencing another guy going through the columns. And it was like too much.
I actually imagine it was
yeah.
more like he got to that point and his great grandfather or whatever was like, no, I won't go through. I'm afraid. And he's like, nope. Nobody in my family was ever afraid of anything. I'm
just like
not
one
dealing
whole-
with this.
There's just like one family who's like they're all buried at the third column. That's as far as any of them ever got. There's like 6 of them.
Oh, that's so funny. They put a little gravestone there for them. The sixth flashback is Charn, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Charn.
The sixth before we get started, I just want to say that it was a weird choice to have the last flashback be easily the worst look.
Oh yeah.
Just look like
Yeah, you mean like
he's
visually?
he just looks. I mean, and maybe this is intentional. He looks like a rube. He just looks, and again, maybe that's intentional, but like in not a, I don't know. It just looked weird to me. It's just a weird choice.
I think it is intentional, and like I don't know how much they will go into this or they won't go into this or whatever, but like this world didn't know evil. Like there were no dark friends, there was no dark one until 5 minutes after you meet this guy. Right?
That's true. They're living
Yeah.
in
They
like
didn't know that they didn't know about any of that. Like,
Brendan,
there was an innocent.
the city there is called Paradisen.
Oh, okay.
So you can figure out what that's supposed to be about.
And they're all cowards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no like real crime or anything like that. It's supposed to be
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, I got it.
Brendan, what? But you don't
And
understand.
then the thing falls. It falls, Brendan. You see, it fell at the end.
That's Paradise Lost.
Yeah, but
Lanfear is Moiraine is Lanfear.
So I just thought it was. I thought even more than Triple H Caveman ran. Like I felt like this looked like the most like the hair looked the fakest or whatever.
Yeah.
So
he was like very like.
So there's
just happy.
There's a bit of some background to this too, right? Like, and Yosha said in interviews that like they didn't have a lot of time to film all these, and they didn't really get to like test makeup, different like makeups and hair combinations out. So like a lot of this was done over a very short period of time. They had to like, costume him up, and he kind of had to create each character for each one of them and how he was going to do it. And he said he really didn't have a lot of time to like prep that.
Yeah, most of these scenes were a day.
Yeah. So
like one day, one location, go.
So you can kind of maybe they were running out of wigs or something.
Will you wear wigs?
I get he's blonder than in any other one, and I think that's honestly what looks like he just doesn't. It's not that darker hair works for me, but the blonde that didn't work, I guess.
Yeah. And we get this great scene with him and Moiraine.
Yeah.
Right. She's not Lanfear yet. So now you can see there's a connection going way, 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 way back with him, his ancestors. and Lanfear, but also his reincarnated soul and Lanfear. So he's like doubly connected to her, which is kind of cool. If you think about it.
If she thinks about it.
Yeah, well, she thinks about it. Well, she talks about, right, she's explaining what it is that they're doing, and she's like basically saying that they've sent some sort of power, unlike the one power that they can use now, and she's basically trying to access it, the true power, saying that like anyone should be able to use this, not just Aes Sedai. So I want to get Brendan, I guess, your thoughts on this, because Tom and Jen already have thoughts on this, or know more about this. But do you think her intentions were good? Like she wasn't trying, like, do you think she knew that if she did this, that the Dark One would be freed, or do you think she was just like really trying to look for, curious about this power and, use it for good type of thing?
I'm really like I watched this episode twice, and the first time I watched it, I was like, oh well, this is she's on her Lanfear bullshit. She's talking about how she's doing one thing. It was like, oh, we're gonna give magic to everybody, but like, no, you're not. You're trying to let the Dark One out. And then I watched it again this afternoon, and I was like, oh well, no, maybe she really does just want to give magic to everyone, and it went horribly, horribly wrong. I really, it's not. I can't tell which should. I'm not saying it's not, like maybe that's just me, and it is unclear in the best way something like that can be unclear in a story like this.
Yeah, I think you're. I don't think it's
I don't think you're supposed
unintentional. Yeah, I think you're supposed to be able to read it the way you want to read it.
Okay.
Because like Joe, you said a little while ago, like, oh, she's Moiraine, she's not Lanfear yet. But if I understand the timeline and what happens in this scene correctly, she's not Lanfear yet for like a minute. And then like they cut to Charn down in the fields, and by the time he picks up his sickle, she's Lanfear.
No, she doesn't become Lanfear right at that moment.
No,
she doesn't. No,
it's pretty quick after.
I'm trying to remember. Like we'd have to go back and look.
They don't even know what's happening at first.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like she's the first person to declare herself publicly, or the second.
I don't think she's the first. I'm trying to look to see if I have this here.
People are saying it is a significant amount of time.
Oh, okay.
Publicly, not privately.
Well,
and like,
oh, she's actually. I have it listed as her as being the first Aes Sedai to do so, but I feel like I was wrong at one point. I feel like Matt Hatch corrected me, but I don't remember if it was about her. Yeah, she doesn't immediately become Lanfear, but I like. You're right. They do leave it ambiguous because she seems very genuine and sentimental. But I mean, we've seen her be like that before. But
yeah.
It's almost, I almost feel like, well, does she have a reason to do it in front of this dork?
Well, I do like. She's like, go be with the person you love. That's important.
Yes,
the most important thing. Not just important,
but there's a look. Yeah. There's a look after that, right? Right at the end when he leaves, she kind of looks over at like, almost as if to say like something something's gonna happen. Things are gonna change, and maybe not for the good.
Like maybe this is just influenced by what I know happens to that character, and who she's played by, and the associations I make with that. But like, even if she does really mean it, and this true power she thinks she's found or about to find, is something that is going to democratize magic, and she means well. She seems fanatical about it to a degree that even if it is an objectively good thing, it's like, all right, pump the brakes a little bit, Moiraine. This is you're going a little too hard here.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, you could pull from this that she's likely a power hungry person. Like that,
Yes.
she's like,
Yeah.
ooh, a power's code. Like I want to see what it is and be able to get
Right.
back.
And like she's already like she's already an Aes Sedai, so like she has all this power already. And I was like, ooh, there's this new different kind of power we can all have, including
Yeah, there's also other stuff that I don't know if they're going to talk about, but like so there's a whole thing, right, where the really great people in that time get like a third name, like Luz Theron Telamon and Elan Tedranai Morsh, whatever. What's his name's?
You made the second one up, but okay.
No, that's about to say it's
Shaman is like Elan Tedro Mornai, something like that, whatever his name is. And Moiraine famously doesn't have a third name, and she really wants one. And the thought is that she's like kind of ambitious and maybe reckless because she's trying to earn her third name, and be like,
I don't see it, but okay.
Yeah.
And
that's why she's doing this as well. So
I think you nailed that fact that like we're gonna find this great power for everyone, but mostly me. Right.
And thank you, chat. Elan Moore and Tedranai.
Right. And like yeah, I just feel like, and the way she's like, it wouldn't be great for not just, Luz Theron and the Aes Sedai. Like, it's just like, it's still about like him. That jerk.
Well, you got to see some flying ships and a giant floating Death Star, Brendan. What'd you think of those?
That's one of my notes is Death Star ? Exclamation point.
Yeah, did you see the TIE fighters going by?
There was I mentioned this a little bit on Discord. There's a lot of George Lucas DNA in this episode, which I had to immediately clarify. I meant as a good thing. Between the last two looking like Anakin Skywalker, the floating Death Star-esque Ruidian has a very half Grail Temple, half Dark Side Cave on Dagobah energy. That's what I was getting a lot of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Throughout this episode.
I like that.
That big giant floating ball, right? Was Lanfear in there? Or sorry, was Moiraine in there when it collapsed?
I thought there were several. Did we see multiple?
No, that's only one giant.
Just the ones. Yeah, that's where she's in. Yes, I think she's in there when it starts to collapse. At least, she.
Well, we know she doesn't.
Well, and also she seems to have the ability to teleport, or something like that. Or
yes, that's true.
So
she already.
You don't know if that's an evil Well, we don't know if that's an evil ability or not, but
that's true.
She's got it. Yeah, and then reality breaks and it turns into a brief 2-minute David Lynch film and I don't even mean like just in that, but like the sound of the Dark One, this kind of electrostatic kind of distortion, which is just hard. That's horrifying, and the way that they showed that, like, that was a break in reality and not a break in like a piece of the sky. Like if you turned around and like you could, like, it was just reality was broken there, you know?
Yeah.
It was just based on the shape of it. I was immediately very in my head and in my notebook, very snarky and cynical. Like, oh God, it's the Eye of Sauron.
I knew you were going to say that.
But then it kept going, and it, like Tom said, it made that sound, and it was very clearly like not just a hole in the sky, but a hole in the fabric of existence. And it very quickly became like one of the most effective depictions of like quasi Lovecraftian cosmic horror stuff that I was not expecting, and was for a second genuinely distressing.
You guys,
I wasn't expecting that either.
You guys made fun of me for saying that there was like a literal physical spot where she was drilling. Remember?
But yes, there is.
But like when it collapses, that hole was in that spot.
Didn't you see the drill? It was on the table off to the side in that scene.
I
saw like a one power crank.
It was on the messy table.
No, she cranked it.
Yeah.
She cranked it with her arm.
And yeah, I love that. Like that's exactly what this is. It is in horror outside, literally outside of time and space.
Right.
Oh, wait. like the patterns, the fabric for our existence. But what if I poked a hole in it? What would happen? Oh, that.
We finally caught the devil. No one will ever find him here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Let him out.
Um,
Fully by accident. But
and Rand's got the 2 marks now. He's officially the car. In case you didn't know, Brendan, did you think he was going to be the Karakarn?
Literally the first time the word Karakarn was said and we discussed it, I was like, well, obviously the Karakarn is right. We can go back to, I don't remember what episode it was. We can go back and check. I was like, yeah, obviously the Karakarn is right. Of course it is.
Yeah.
No, I think it was at the end of last season that you said that.
No, it was 205.
No,
it was when Avienda is telling Perrin about it.
Avienda's like, I'm looking for the Karakarn, and one of you was like, Brendan, who do you think I think before you were finished, like, the Karakarn is Rand. Don't even like. Of course it is.
So Rand gets his.
There's not going to be 2 messiahs. That's not how it works.
Right.
it should be. In case one doesn't make it.
But before we get to that, I just want one last thing on the Charn part. When they're like, they cut back and they're doing the cross cutting. It appears that Charn like immediately dies. Is that accurate?
Oh, I didn't notice.
Because Rand falls down and it cuts to like, as soon as Rand falls down, it cuts to Charn falling down in that field. So presumably that's it for him.
Oh, how?
Oh.
I don't know. Reality just broke
From
like 10 feet away from him.
Everyone else ran away and he just stood there and looked at it.
Staring at it.
Don't look directly at it.
Then he had to have kids.
Yeah, he has a whole family.
Yeah, sure.
He talks about having
His
a family.
children?
They're out there working.
Yeah, the whole thing. Remember, he talks about family and the conversation.
Yeah, but I thought that was like his older family members, not of wife and kids.
Well, also he could have brothers and sisters who have kids, and technically
it has to be a
direct descendant. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so
he's an adult.
Yeah,
he is an adult. I think you're just caught up on he's so doofy. You like who would have sex with him?
I guess he did it at least once, and she got pregnant. So that's it. That's all we needed.
He got it in the right
guys. I just thought his beard looked weird. Don't look at it. It was.
Avienda's here though, and they're back at the tree together. She sees the dragons on his arm, and
she's talking about it.
No, there's
Avienda. Oh my god!
But she's the one who brought him here to be the Karakarn. Now she's mad that he's the Karakarn.
I think she really was hoping it was.
She was really hoping it wasn't the Karakarn. I mean, she brought him here, but as we kind of discussed earlier, she really didn't want to find him and come home and have to be a wise one.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then she still calls him a wetlander. Even though he's the Karakarn.
She doesn't like him.
She doesn't also she doesn't know what he saw. Because he's like, she's like, oh, you understand now?
Oh, right.
But I mean, she should know that the clan chiefs and the wise ones, and I don't know, how much do people
that
know?
She saw that in the rings? He doesn't know.
She knows something. That's all she knows. They go
they see their past in the history of the Aiel, though. She knows that much.
No.
They just said it. Didn't they say?
Not in front of her.
Not in front of her. She ran off.
That's why they make everyone else leave.
Are they the only 2 there? I feel like I thought the wise ones say it earlier.
The wise ones talk about it with wise ones, and the clan chiefs talk about it with clan chiefs.
Okay.
And that's it.
For some reason, I thought people know about that it was about their past.
No.
Okay.
You guys just reminded me of something. In the scene where the wise ones send like Wayne and Lan away, like before they go to Ruidian.
Yeah.
Dan's like, was Daniel Henney like not available this day? Because they never show Lan's face. She's just like, Anna Lane, you have to leave. And it's just like a hooded guy who looks at Moiraine and leaves.
Oh.
And they don't show him.
In
He's like, I wonder if he wasn't there. It's like a stand-in for him.
Potentially could be, yeah.
Weird, yeah.
They've done that before. There's a scene, there ain't the scene in season 1-6 where Egwene wasn't available, and it's the director in the outfit, you know?
Oh yeah, when she was sick, right? She was supposedly sick that day. But they really, because of the weather, they needed to get the shots in.
Yeah.
So she still doesn't like him. I guess her futures reinforced that for her. Like,
she wasn't thrilled.
Yeah, she's not convinced.
Right. You got to figure, right? She finds the Karakarn. His prophecy is we'll save a remnant of a remnant, which we,
Yeah.
right? So like, yeah.
Well, I mean, well, she wouldn't know that, but
All of
We'll
her
save her-
futures were Rand getting her killed. That's why she's so angry at him.
from what we learned about the evolution of the Aiel as a culture and as a society, referring to a remnant could just mean all of them.
Oh, you're saying, yeah, because
That's true.
it doesn't mean actual like remnant of people. It could be a remnant of your culture or your
Like
history.
the Aiel are a remnant of
Right.
Yeah.
the Aiel as we know them
Right.
are
Already are that.
a remnant of a remnant.
Yeah.
That's true.
Very
That's true.
insightful, Brendan.
That's why you
Why
guys
is he-
pay me the big bucks.
That's,
We
that's why he's here, folks.
Yeah, we cut back to Moiraine getting killed over and over and over and over again by Lanfear. So the first
Everywhere.
section was Rand getting killed by
Yeah.
Moiraine mostly, and now we've got Moiraine getting killed by Lanfear. Mostly.
And so I have a question for you. Why does Lanfear kill her and not use the power? It's always stabbing her or slicing her throat.
Is it
It's always
just
a physical. It's always
is
a
it a callback
physical.
to the
Is it
Moiraine-
revenge?
To her?
Is it
Yeah.
Moiraine
revenge
slit her
to?
throat?
Yeah.
I also think just like from a production standpoint, maybe they just were like, well, we don't want to do one power stuff. Like, let's just do.
Well, they did. Rand gets killed with the one power by
Yes.
so like
Yes,
they
one
do
time.
it. But yeah, I think it's a very.
It's probably the same sword. How much you want to bet that the sword that she has is Rand's sword, the one that
Well,
Moiraine
Rand-
used?
no, that's gone.
No.
That got melted into Ishi.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but it might be Rand's sword now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in one of the scenes, someone's very certain it's Land's sword.
No,
That-
that's Lanfear. Guys, come on, keep up.
Which scene?
I don't know
Land's
which
sword, the one that the one that Rand is using now.
Land's
Or the
sword, the
Valkyrie
one that
sword.
the Valkyrie blade. Yeah,
Valkyrie blade. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Also, there is one possible future where she strangles her in bed.
That's
yeah.
true.
She also
Yeah.
strangles her in the desert too, and strangles
Yeah.
her out in the in Tarvalon.
It's always a
slit in the
physical
throat. Yeah.
murder. It's never a one power murder, which I think is an interesting
Yeah.
thing.
The last three is just like she kills her in the waist. She kills her in the waist again. She kills her in the waist again.
Yeah.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
oh, they must have run out of shots, and they were like, I just
No,
replay
I
it
think it's
over
just
and-
like
I think
I think
it's
it's intentional.
It
yeah, I
means,
think it's like
that's more.
the
That's a
most
more
likely outcome is that she's gonna die soon here.
Uh,
Like is what I got out
with
of
a
this.
sword. Well, if we see Lanfear show up with a sword, keep a sword away from her.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Maybe that's yeah. Maybe we'll learn that why she
I don't-
this actually
I don't-
happens.
I mean, even if she doesn't show up with a sword, because I am positive that Lanfear, based on what we've seen so far, has access to Looney Tunes-esque camera space. I can just pull the sword out from behind her back.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Um,
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of Ruidian. Rand comes walking out with
Well, I just
Moiraine.
want to like it's 40 minutes for us.
7 days.
Moiraine's in there for 7 days.
Moiraine and Rand are in there for 7 days. Avienda. Well, actually, no. Rand's been sitting around for 2 days.
Right.
Because Avienda's been back for 2 days. So
Right.
Rand just kind of hangs out for 2 days, waits for Moiraine. I guess he just sits by the rings and watches her. I don't know. That's weird. That's kind of creepy. Forget I said that. But there's a good scene before they get back with Lan and Egwene,
Yeah.
Right.
and they're having a whole conversation, and you could just like Lan is clearly remembering the bond, feeling this horrible stuff that Moraine's experiencing. And he's just
Right.
like trying to keep it together. And it's like, how is he not a total mess right now? Or that is Lan a total mess, basically.
Right.
And I thought that was a really cool.
One tier.
Yeah. But you could see it on his face. Like,
Yeah. I'm sorry for not composing myself.
yeah.
Um
And finally we get to that part, Jen, right? They kind of have Rand doesn't even look at Egwene. And I don't think
Yeah.
really Moiraine looks at Lan. They look at
No.
each other. And I understand why Moiraine looks at Rand that way. I don't understand why Rand looks at Moiraine that way, though. It's not like he saw anything with Moiraine that would make him, I don't know, trust her all of a sudden, or...
I think it's more along the lines of like, they both went through something here that was clearly very traumatic, and now that is a shared experience that they have that these other people don't. Even if it's not a shared experience between each other, the trauma of the trial of Ruidian is something that they share.
Well, she didn't go through the trial of Ruidian.
She went through her own trial, right? But like, it's my point is like
a different trial, but it's still a trial. Yeah.
And like, they that makes them now have something between each other that nobody else has, even if it's not the same experience.
There's a lot to say about Yosha Straczynski's performance or performances, depending on how you want to look at it in this episode. But in this scene in particular, I have rarely, if ever, seen anyone play, oh my God, I'm so tired, better.
Yeah. Yes. And I think that
maybe he had to carry her up like 4 or 5 times. They had to do a bunch of takes of that.
Oh, but apparently this was another thing, just not to be like that, but like this is another thing where it's like the weather was not cooperating while they were there, and they had this night. It was actually a night. It wasn't a morning, but like this night to get this shot in, and they had scenes written. This wasn't originally scripted to be a silent end. There were scenes written where they would discuss their trauma, I guess. And they were like, don't do the scenes. Just do this. This is so much better. Like, just do this.
Right.
And it really worked. But I think, you had mentioned earlier, Brendan, that like Rand doesn't seem to particularly be enjoying his chosen one status. And the fact that it's just, I think it's just like, he's done with a capital D, and he hasn't even truly begun yet. Or I guess he began, but like, there's a lot more to do.
Yeah, I guess he spent 5 days in those flashbacks, and another 2 days sitting around.
And again, this is whatever. Someone posted this in chat, and I think it's. I don't know if we were going to mention this or not, but like, in the books, this is not a spoiler. In the books, they're also in there for 7 days, right? And but it's not 7 days to them. And so there's some question about whether time is different inside Ruidian or not. Mm-hmm. Like, they would be starving, kind of, if they went a week without any food or water in the desert.
Right.
They, and they're not. So,
but they're inside magical items, so those magical items keep them
healthy.
Yeah, healthy and.
Well, I mean, people do die and turn into skeletons there, so it's not like a stasis field. But
there's plenty to eat.
I don't think those people die of starvation, though. Those people die of some combination of horror and shame.
Yeah, I mean, Moradin's dead before he can starve to death.
Why do people die in the woods, Jack? They die of shame.
They die of shame.
I can't say it like Anthony Hopkins, but
is his name Jack in that movie?
I don't know. I thought it was Jack. I might be wrong.
Charles. He's Charles.
Anthony Hopkins is Charles.
Yeah.
Welcome to Talk Around the Edge, everybody.
Talk Around the Edge. Let's do it.
Let's kill that bear.
And that's the end of the episode.
That is the end of the episode.
We did it.
Do we want to do our ratings for this one?
Sure.
See, I want to lower all my ratings by like a quarter of a point here.
Well,
this is what I was concerned about in the beginning.
I mentioned this in Discord, our Discord chat earlier in the week, and I actually went back to look and see, just like relative to where we all had the rest of the series ranked, and I was a little surprised as to what our individual favorite episodes, or at least highest ranked episodes, were.
Okay, well, what do we got?
Well, do we want to do it now, or do we want to talk about it after?
After we rank this, okay, we'll rank this, and then you can tell us what our individual and I guess our amalgamated highest ranked is.
Okay.
Who didn't go first yet? Joe, right? You.
I went first last time, I think, right?
I went first, so it's Brendan.
All
I
right.
think you're right.
Brendan never goes first.
I never go first. I'm happy to go first.
He's not allowed to go
now.
first.
Oh,
I'm torn on this one, right? I want to give it a 5, but now I'm afraid that there's going to be an episode better because now I'm hearing like, wait for episode 7, and I know what's going to happen in episode 7. So I'm like,
there could be more than 1 5. You could two.
What if I wanted
episodes
to
could
go
have the same rating?
what if I want to go above a 5 though? What if it's better?
I think
The rules are made up and the points don't
5.
matter.
I'm giving it a 5.
All right.
I love this episode. The only thing I wished I would have had was a little more time with the Aiel to understand their culture, so that way the impact of learning about their history was a little bit more stronger.
More stronger. Got it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say
More
more
better.
something else, and then I changed the word to stronger. so.
more impactful.
Well, I used the word
impact.
More,
I knew where you were going.
That's the word I was going to say. And I was like, no, wait, I just said that word. I can't say it now. And then I was like,
So I was going to go as I was watching the episode for the first time, I was like, I think this is also going to get a 4.75 from me because it's really, really good. And then the episode was over, and I was sitting here. I actually watched the first time on my computer, whatever, at 5 a.m. or something like that. And I was sitting here, and then I realized I was crying a little bit. So it's a 5 for me. Yeah, like it's just there was an emotional impact to it that I think stuck with me after the episode was done.
Jen?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna also give it a 5.
Wow.
I thought it was really good. I can't think of anything that wasn't good in it
No notes.
right now.
Except Cooladine.
Well,
Yeah, we might have to drop a whole star for Cooladine.
All right, Brendan, go ahead.
Yeah.
This is the best episode of the show, and it's not even close.
All right.
5.
Wow.
Not only is it the best episode of the show, I kind of suspect it's always going to be the best episode of the show.
I think that's okay, right? Like,
Which is fine.
Yeah,
Sure.
Right? Like, some people, whatever. I actually do know exactly why this jumped into my head, but like The Inner Light from Star Trek: The Next Generation, a lot of people consider that the best episode of the show, right? And it's like season 3 or whatever. Yeah. Just sometimes that's when it hits.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. So Brendan, go ahead. Take us back in time.
Prior to this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was looking that up because if we didn't all agree that this was the best episode of the show, I would have been shocked and appalled. But yeah, previous best episodes, or at least highest ranked episodes, Jen and Joe have the same one, season 2, episode 6.
Okay.
Tom's is season 2, episode 5.
How's episode? I don't even remember what episode 6 is in season 2.
Damani.
Egwene's episode.
Oh,
Egwene
yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Which is my second lowest ranked episode.
Yeah.
Mine is 5.
Yeah.
The prior episode.
That's Damane.
That's Damani. Yeah.
Eyes Without Pity, I think, was episode 6.
Yeah. And I actually have a tie of season 1, episode 3, which is the Tom Maryland episode, and season 2, episode 5.
That's one of my
also
favorite
a great
episodes of the show as well. So,
yeah.
All right. Awesome.
All right.
Ooh, I just hit my chair thing and it went down. Brendan, thank you once again for joining us.
Yep, of course.
I hope the show can stay this good for you. But I know
it can't. But like, let's keep.
It absolutely can't. But that's okay.
There's a chance in episode 7. I think I'm going to feel confident.
I think there's going to be another great episode like this season. But like, I agree with Brendan. Like, this goes. I would go so far to say is like, in fantasy television, this might be like the best episode of fantasy television.
All right, that's another podcast.
Right?
Wait, before Brendan leaves.
Yes.
Is trailer Brendan now seeing the show that the trailer?
No.
Okay.
I knew you were going to ask me this. And no. The show
Only in the first episode. I think in the 7th episode, you're going to see trailer. You're going to see trailer.
As good, as great as this episode is, and I tend to agree with Tom that this is one of the best episodes, at least of quote unquote genre television I've ever seen.
Yeah, my wife
this is
really
still
liked this
not
episode too.
This is still not what the show is like. This episode is an aberration.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I will want to. I do want to say this one thing before Brendan leaves, because when you got to crow as many people as possible. I called this from as soon as we started conceptualizing what season 3 could be, that this episode takes place here. It's only this storyline, and you don't go anywhere.
You were right,
else.
Tom. I
said it out loud in my living room after we watched.
I was
Tom
right.
That I was going to
Yes.
crow about it.
Yes. I said, oh, Tom was right. Well, you thought the whole episode was going to be them in Ruidian. There was a good.
That's why it was a 4.75 for me. I swear to God, because I said all of the scenes in the beginning should have been at the end of the prior episode.
No, but then they couldn't.
It worked better this way.
Imagine they threw all of that in the other episode after all of that exposition about the Aiel.
I know.
If the whole episode was them in Ruidian, it would have been worse. It would have gotten repetitive and gone on too long.
Yeah.
And you needed the beginning of the episode gave you like emotional stakes.
Yes.
That you didn't have otherwise. Yeah. No, it really was like at a different level. And that's fine. Sometimes you need to do that. So you need to have an episode where you need to like put a flag in. Here we go. This is it. And go from there.
Yeah.
All right, Brendan. Thank you again
guys.
for joining us. See you next week.
Thank you as always. See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.
And we're back for our spoiler portion of the episode. Tom, it sounds like you have a lot of stuff there, so I'm going to let you take it away because I only have like one or two things, and I think we already talked about one.
Yeah. All right. So it's not like I had a ton of stuff, but it was just kind of like Brendan mentioned, like in everything, there was just something a little bit extra that I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So in regards to Moiraine finding Sarkhan and
Yes.
like when Rand gets near the Chodenkal, he senses the resonance of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it calls to him. And I think the same thing's happening here.
Yeah.
As she gets closer, I don't think there's any secret. People were like, oh, she knew that's why she wanted to go. I'm like, no. She wanted to go because Rand was going, and they told her to go.
Yeah, she found out she kind of had to go.
Right. And
I
like,
mean, Mulaney didn't really
but
give
when
her
she
much
was
of a
in
choice.
there, like, yeah, she notices there's something weird. There's clearly something with the one power going on, and she feels something on this tree. And I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like they can just sense it's a very powerful magical item, and it's so powerful that she can kind of feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I think it was interesting which scenes they cut. And I know Rafe said that they had actually scripted it. At least it got to the script stage of
the flashbacks, you mean?
The flashbacks. I think that this flowed as well as it could possibly flow. And it got past the scripting stage because the woman that was cast as
Mandine's wife or
yeah. I guess the first wise ones, was originally cast to play the first Maiden of the Spear.
Yeah, Rafe said that when he was on the Dusty Wheel.
I get at least the pre-production stages of it. But yeah, I think so I thought that was interesting. I think I have a question, two questions. I guess you answered one of them because I didn't really like when I first heard the line of dialogue of like, oh, we're going to meet with others. I thought that was wishful thinking, but it's clearly like, no, they actually were meeting with others.
Yeah.
But like the second to last flashback when they go out with all the chore saplings. Yeah. So does that guy cheat on his husband?
Yeah, I never thought
or
of that.
like,
how does he have
how does he have kids?
That's a great question. I was putting a note that I was like, oh, they're gay, but then I was like, well, it doesn't, I don't really need to note that and mention it, but I didn't think of it though, Tom, that Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, it's an interesting, yeah. And maybe this is where the multiple spouses come in, right?
Yeah. Maybe he just found out. Maybe he just recently, became gay. Well, not became gay, but embraced it, or came out of the closet, and he had a wife for a little while and had a kid or two.
Yeah. Or he said, love is love is love. Like, hey, we're out there. Times are tough. It gets lonely. So all right.
1 in 1,000. 10,000. So one thing I did want to point out, right? So that flashback with Latra, the scene with Latra, right? So they kind of changed this, right? They made it, their oath was really to protect, right? To bring they were servants of the Aes Sedai, and obviously their oath was to bring all these objects of the powers to safety, to find a place of safety for them. So they kind of changed it a little bit and said, she's like, your oath is to keep the way of the leaf, like makes them swear to keep the way of the leaf. So that's fine.
It's to protect the thing. Right?
Also, but she says specifically, like, your oath, keep your oath, keep the way of the leaf, like swear to me that you'll keep the way of the leaf, or something like that. She says. So they did change that a bit, but that's cool.
Yeah, I think, it would have been weird and cost too much money to have them constantly carrying around all these items of the power. And like, I like the point at like some point, it's just 2 guys in a wagon and that's it. And then until they start rebuilding again.
Well, there's a lot of wagons.
No, at one point it's just one wagon left with a guy and his grandson. Yeah. And that's it. All the other wagons are gone.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. At that point, Jonah.
Yeah. So,
You don't think Jonah is the guy? Oh no, the other guy is Roderick. That's Roderick, right?
Yeah.
The other one. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we talked about Genuine killing Layman. That was something I had noted. That's just, I guess, a change. I don't remember. I feel like you don't know who killed him, and there was a theory. Someone said that Genuine killed him.
Yeah, it's possible. It's just, I think it's not.
Well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen on Dragonmount. That's for sure in the books.
No, he gets killed outside of Tarvalon, I think, which is near Dragonmount, but not.
Yeah.
Did they ever refer to Rand's mother as Tigraine on the show, other than like the Aiel mother?
No, they've mentioned.
They mentioned Tigraine.
Tigraine's mentioned in this season. Is it?
Morghese mentions her. But does she?
You don't know.
Do they credit her as Tigraine?
No, Shael, I think. Oh, she might be Tigraine in the season.
Well, there's a line. Is it the episode? Is it the episode before this where there's the line where she says, "Your father was Aiel, and your mother."
Well, that's this episode.
That is this episode.
My mother was Aiel, and they go, "Your father was Aiel.
Yeah,
your mother was."
And then stops. Doesn't say anything.
Well, Couladin is yelling, so that's why she stops.
Yeah,
but like,
I didn't mention that part.
I guess they just. I just assume he's going to find that out at some point in the season, but. I said Tigraine because I thought she was credited as Tigraine in the first season.
I think she is credited as Tigraine in the first
someone's
season.
agreeing with me in the chat. So
they're saying in chat that she's never meant. Shael is not mentioned.
Okay.
Right.
So that's an interesting thing. Then if people, connect that.
Yeah, if you listened, you would know that they don't say her name on the show. It's just in the credits. So you just watch the credits, then hear that that's the queen, the princess that left or whatever.
2 seasons later.
Yeah, that's a little difficult. But when I said her name in the recap, I was like, oh, I don't know if I was supposed to do that. But whatever. I
don't think Brendan called it.
That. Yeah. And even if whatever. Even on a TV show, it's okay for 2 people at one point to have the same name. Like
Tigraine, Melaine, Hegwayne,
Moiraine.
Elaine. Oh my word.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal, but I think we'll get right. Rand's gonna probably ask about his mother. I'm sure. Like this season.
Yeah, they're gonna tell next episode. He could.
Yeah, it could be the next episode. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have any Aiel. We don't even see them in the next episode. It's all going to be the other characters.
No, I think the Aiel are going to be in everything else. I think maybe episode 7 doesn't have them.
Yeah, we haven't done anything with like Egwene.
She's not a big part. Well, she's in
Yeah.
the. So if you, yeah,
Next
if you
episode, the teaser for the next episode is heavy,
Yes.
heavy. Egg
Oh,
white.
I haven't seen the teaser.
yes,
It's not.
Bear's
it's not,
like, let's train for. Now we're going to train for the dream.
Okay.
That's next episode. I don't know how much of it's going to be in that episode, but there's definitely going to be dream walking training going on. So
yeah, I think next episode you're gonna get Tinkers, probably. Right?
well, I think you're going to get Perrin freeing the
Perrin and the
Coffins,
team.
right? I'm assuming that's
Yeah.
going to happen next episode as well, and maybe they leave for Tenchi. Oh no, they're going to arrive in
They're
Tenchiko.
in Tenchiko, yeah.
Yeah.
You can do a All right, just a few other things. The song is just a song.
Oh, I did make a note of this
Right?
somewhere.
I mean,
that was
the song
disappointing.
itself is not.
How do we know that's the song?
They say it.
They do?
Yeah,
Do you
it goes.
still know the song? They're like,
Yeah,
that's the song. That's the song.
That's
it's
the
just
song.
a song that they sing when they work in the fields,
All right. Well, whatever.
they
which is
cut the
fine.
grass.
Yeah.
It's better. There's no nim, and I think the nim is what makes like it's.
I
Fine.
didn't like that they actually played the song. To be honest with you, I probably should have taken off a quarter point for them playing the song.
Well, they
One,
played
I
it,
wasn't really. It should have been "We Built This City on Rock and Roll." That's what they should have been singing. And two, there is no song.
There is in the book. There's the
On
song.
the show, there's a song.
No,
In the
in
book,
the
there's a
book,
song. They sing the song with the nim. The nim dance. They sing.
but is
Everything
that? I don't. I
blossoms.
feel like Robert Jordan though said that that's not the song.
because there is no the song. Like
Yeah.
the song that they're searching for is like isn't real because they don't remember what it is. Like that's not a thing. Now it's like they're searching for salvation. Like,
Yeah.
that's what they like. You know, so
Yeah.
it's you know whatever. What they're asking for and what it is real are two different things.
I would have been
But-
great if they were singing like tub thumping or something like that. That would have been. That should have been the song.
the
I
old
wasn't.
ditty from the sea.
Yeah, that old nursery rhyme from the sea. Yeah, I was a little disappointed that they actually played the song. So, and I wasn't really too. I know, whatever. It wasn't. It reminded that scene. That's another part of the scene that was like George Lucas. Like it was like Ewok singing. That sounded like an Ewok song. That's what I got vibes of. Like with the floating Sharome in the background and them singing. I was like, this is Ewoks. That's the Death Star. They're on Endor. Something like that was happening.
Fair enough. All right. What do you think? Do you think Avienda saw the same thing in the rings that she sees in the books?
I mean, I don't
Well, she
remember
looked at
everything
Rand
she
and
sees.
she was like horrified. She
She
kind of like
was.
scurried back from him and she's like even more mad.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I mean, was that? Yeah, you're right. She did look.
She didn't like that he had empathy for her and was trying to apologize. Like that's what upset her.
Yeah, she seems shocked. I think just at first glance, from a viewer perspective, it just seems like she was just in a very traumatic experience, and she's just a little shooken up. Like
Yeah,
he could
but-
have said anything or done anything, and it could have been anyone, and she would have reacted that way. But yeah, I think there's obviously something else. She saw some things in there with Rand,
All right.
but I don't know what that is. I'm still on the fence about what that is. Like
so
there's going to be more Egwene and Lanfear and Rand triangle going on. I'm not sure where they're wedging.
I think
in
that all.
Avienda.
I think the goal for the show is to put this to bed this season.
Yeah, but then that means Rand's going to be with Avienda next season, which
yeah, that's the timeline of that's the timeline of the story anyway. Like he gets together in Avienda, but they're back in the Westlands.
doesn't she go with?
She gets assigned to him right away.
Yeah.
Well, while
But,
they're in the
like,
waste, yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get together with her until like she flees when they're in Carrion, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought they were
Right.
in Ruidian in like that house that he's staying in.
No,
No.
she flees because she's taking a bath. She's getting undressed to take a bath.
Yeah. I thought remember there was like a house and the maidens are guarding the outside and then he goes up to his room and Avienda's like in his room getting changed. Am I
No,
like
I don't
totally
think that's
like in the same part where the
It's not a house. I think they're in the
dogs
palace.
attacked-
They're in the palace. I
yeah,
think.
well, okay. But like when the dogs attacked Matt. Like around that same time. Isn't that in Ruidian?
The Dark Hounds? No, that's when.
No, that's not when that.
That's on the way to Cold Rocks, or on the way.
The eagle is
after
in the
Cold
in
Rocks,
the
I don't
middle.
remember.
When he's with Melindra and the dogs are trying to get through the door.
That's the beginning of of Fires of Heaven.
Yeah, so that's isn't that
that's not when the igloo
isn't that all
happens.
taking place in the same area? No.
No.
Wait.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know. This is a mixed.
All right, yeah. So, anyway, it's in Fires of Heaven.
Okay. No, it's definitely in Fires of Heaven.
So, yeah, I think that's fine. You could start to build it now, and it could still be this thing where she just hates him and has to teach him, and you can start to slowly find out.
And I think by her calling him Wetlander, I think this obviously she's still not happy about this. So there's going to be more of that next week.
We didn't get her channeling yet. We know we're going to get a scene of her channeling though, because it's in the trailer. Yeah. So I guess we'll maybe see that in the next episode or two, or maybe at the end, who knows? I'm kind of interested to see what happens with Couladin in the sense of is he going to go to Ruidian or not? And then the question is who gives him the dragon tattoos.
So I'm going to throw this. I'm going to throw this out here. I think that's why they've introduced Samael this season. I think he's going to take that the Forsaken place in here.
So he's going to show up as under the guise of
somebody.
Hadnan?
Yeah, maybe it's Hadnan.
As if Hadnan Kadir walks out to the screen, I'm just going to lose my mind.
I
just want everybody to picture me when Hadnan Kadir walks on.
And he gives Rand a hat to give to Matt.
Yeah.
It's actually Moraine's hat.
Yeah. Or it could just be he's not there, but he just comes and does this. I think that you don't cast someone as Samael for one scene in episode.
No, he's going to do other things.
Definitely. Right. And that's my prediction. My wild prediction is that Samael.
Not that maybe Melindra is like Semiraj or Grendel.
No, I think Melindra is Melindra. She's a dark friend, and she's there to, and then Lan's gonna be the one she's intended to seduce and kill instead of Matt. Mm-hmm. And I think they making note that Samael is the weakest of the Forsaken.
Yeah,
they might completely just swap him for Asmodean.
Well, they say Moghedien's the weakest.
They say, and then he's the next weakest.
Yeah.
Which he isn't, but.
Right. And then the point is no, I think Asmodean is. And that's I think making that note, they might just swap him out and have Samael fill that role.
So the statues were wrong. Steppen statues are just
maybe
just falling apart. He got fake ones, knockoffs. Those aren't real Forsaken statues. Got them in China.
Yeah.
Forsaken.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've seen very clearly how things get changed and warped, and things that are relatively minor at the time become hugely important later on. So yeah.
I also want to say something. We would make fun of, and maybe rightly so, the episodes that Rafe wrote.
He crushed it.
Yeah,
Rafe crushed it this one. This
it's almost
time.
like Rafe cares about the source material.
I don't think he never cared. I don't think anyone. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say anyone.
Yeah,
I did. I never doubted his commitment to the source material. Yeah. I'm talking about the quality of his writing, Jen. I'm talking about the quality of the writing of the episodes. And this was a really well-written episode. There's a lot of good book lines in here, literally conversations lifted right from the books, which is great. And they make it work so well, the actors. Like I said, the Moiraine stuff and Bear, their stuff is great. The scene between Lewin and his mother and that whole, That woman,
Killer.
oh my God, give that woman an Emmy. She was like literally 2 minutes in a scene and she fucking killed it.
Yeah.
That was such a great scene. Yeah, this was an amazing episode. And again, the sound, like I was just listening to it and I'm like, the sound and the music in this episode really, really like puts you in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
the sound effects of the columns were bananas.
yeah. And
the
then the
dark
music. Yeah.
coming through, it was like a computer sound almost.
Yeah, it had this kind of like electronic
So creepy.
distortion. Yeah.
Ripping of the fabric of reality. Awesome. So I'm so looking forward to the rest of the season too. So
Yeah.
shall we wrap it up here?
Yes.
Jen, do we have any new patrons to thank?
We do, Joe. Joining the Illuminators Guild, we have Valas.
Oh, welcome.
So thank you or Valaz. Thank you very
Or
much.
Valas.
Valays. Velas.
Or-
I'm going to go with Valas because that
or-
was my first
Cooladine.
instinct. Cooladine. Shut up.
I want to remind everyone to follow
yeah.
us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky. Join us over in Discord to continue the conversation there. We also post our episodes on YouTube, so be sure to go there and like and subscribe. Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts and check out our merchandise and Patreon pages to support us that way. Links to all the aforementioned information are included in the show notes to this episode. I will let everyone know that we just posted, we posted 2 interviews on YouTube. Not really, but by the time this episode drops, we will have. With Kate Fleetwood and Shura Dashlu. So be sure to go over to our YouTube page. That is the only place you can see and hear those interviews. So check that out. They were great.
Mm-hmm.
Final thoughts, words, songs.
Shander.
Shander!
Thanks everyone for listening, and you'll hear us next time.